Yo, 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 welcome everyone to the first episode of Alpha Wolves. I'm super excited about this. Honestly, it's been something that I've been like nervous about doing, but also at the same time, super excited about because it's something that I fully own. It's really weird. I've always been kind of somebody that works with somebody else, like as everyone knows, like Icy and Ready Up and everything like that. Loved that show and I still miss it. I can't believe he broke up with me. But first of all, I want to say big shout outs to everybody that's currently in chat. Nopera, thank you so much. Taylor, dude, you're the best. AE Woof Woof, coming over to YouTube as well with the Woof Woof, and Shasan Woof Woof and Nopera. Like, I love the howl, brother. Keep working on it, brother. And I'm super excited about today, guys. We have honestly a banger. Whenever I was kind of going in and I was wondering if a lot of people are going to want to be able to do a show like this, I was so surprised at the reception of it. I think I sent like my Calendly link out to like, I don't know, 7 or 8 builders. I was like, hey, some of them are going to turn away or like say like, hey, it's not a good time. But I am fully booked until the end of September. And I'm really excited about that. Kyroh in there, brother. And it's really important for me to kind of give out the vision when it comes to a lot of what we're trying to do here with Alpha Wolves. Alpha Wolves is something that's really important to me because I wanted to shed light on builders that deserve to be shed light on, but not just builders too. There's like 3 main verticals that I want to cover here in Alpha Wolves. Number 1 is like builders like you'll see with Kevin Lambert and also Chris Heatherly and Dith, people that are kind of at the cutting edge of building their own teams and kind of also like the nuanced takes of it because I've worked with a lot of builders. So kind of getting and pulling out the best from that. But also on the second side of things, a lot of the distributors are not covered usually. So people that are doing marketing or CMOs or the culture, like we have Kyroh today, doing of like content creation. And then lastly, just innovation, just a place that has this kind of feeling that people can really just push the bounds of technology. And I know that's something that I'm very interested in covering. And so I'm really excited about that, but I'm definitely excited for everyone that's coming in. Nopera, AE, Taylor, really do appreciate it. One thing I do want to kind of cover for today's show is just a general overview of who we're going to be talking to today. So first and foremost, it's going to be Kevin Lambert, CPO of Koin Games. He is somebody that has been a great friend of mine for the last like year and a half or so. Been at GDC, got to talk to him in private. Just honestly, one of the smartest and most bright minds that I've met here in the Web3 gaming space. Unfortunately, Chris Heatherly ended up having a personal matter come up and had to fly out on Monday. So he's not at his setup. He told me if I could, like, he would probably do it at the phone or anything like that. I said, no, don't worry about it. I have something prepared for situations like that, which is Dith. He was currently on paternity leave. Congratulations, Dith. If you're listening to this, that little boy is definitely going into a great family. And so I'm really excited to just play that video. So I had Dith kind of come onto the show before, kind of said my questions. It was a good warm up, especially somebody that is a friend like Dith. And so what I did was recorded that, and then we'll play that. It's around 40 minutes or so, and that'll be in between Kevin and Kyroh. And then the next one's we're going to talk about is Kyroh, manager of Mark of the Zeal. For some reason, he's still back in the 2021, 2022 days where he thinks that guilds are great. And so I wanted to talk to him about really just what his idea is about understanding play to earn. You know, a lot of people, he's kind of swimming upstream in a lot of capacities with Kyroh of doing and raising funds for a guild and managing funds through NFTs. I'm really excited. Whenever I saw like episode 1 come on, I was like, you know what? I think Kyroh is going to have a really great take because it's contrarian to a lot of the things that are currently happening on the timeline. And he's staying very true to it. And then lastly, a very good friend of mine's Oliver Maroney, head of BD at OpenSea. He's one of somebody I very much care about, and I love to hear him. It's probably going to be a part 1 of a million series with him, and I cannot wait to do that. And so before we get on to Kevin Lambert, though, I wanted to give a big shout out to a lot of the people who are currently in chat. Oza, thank you so much. You've been amazing in terms of the Discord as well. So thank you so much. Icy looking good. Excited about that haircut, brother. Hey, I was like, you know what? Alpha Wolves episode 1. We got to do something a little special. Yes. In Nopera, Koin Games, as in Project O, Koin Games. Yes. Kevin Lambert is the beautiful mastermind around the gameplay and a lot of the game concepts that are coming out of. Probably the only guy that I really want to talk about when it comes to Project O and like the game mechanics and all that stuff. I loved him as well too. So I gotta cover my basis on that. And so last thing before I get Kevin up here and invite him and introduce him is really what I wanted to do is also say thank you to everybody that's been part of Wolves 2.0. I've been seeing the Discord honestly just start buzzing with excitement. And honestly, it kind of brings me back to those peak days when the Discord was full and people were having it just before everybody kind of had a name out of themselves. They kind of used to come into Discord and really just start battling with each other, bouting with each other. There's a lot of people in Questions of the Week that are talking about different types of things of like, hey, NFTs versus tokens and all of that. And so it was really cool just to see the reception of it. And it's not lost on me of a lot of these people that are coming in Cubs. I told a lot of the Wolves today, I was like, hey, go in and like celebrate people and recognize their hard work. So Doug, hype in the building, baby. P Money looking mint, brother. Yeah, I know. And I also got my Raised by Wolves hoodie and love it. Love it. What's up, Julia? Thank you so much for showing up. But what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to get Kevin Lambert up on stage here, and I'm going to introduce him. Kevin, how are you, my brother? Looking sharp back there. Oh, 1 second, buddy. I think you're a little muted. I can't hear you. 1 second. Dun, dun, dun. It's always those audio settings, changing inputs and all that stuff. It's always rough.
Testing.
Oh, there it is. He's sounding crispy, not just looking crispy. What's up, Kevin? How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. This is awesome. Inaugural
Thank you for being
episode.
the first guest.
What's that?
It's for being the first guest, brother. It's huge.
I know. I don't have anything to live up to. The bar is low, so it's good. It's appropriately set.
Yeah, exactly. And why. It's something that we actually were joking about. I was like, hey, you were actually one of the first people I reached out to. I was like, hey, if I have episode 1, I would love to have you come on board and talk about Project O. And then also just kind of point fun at the matter is like, are we making another trading card game in Web3, Kevin? But before we get into all of that, I definitely need to just like brag on you a little bit, read your bio, and just kind of, I want to start breaking it down because I saw a through line through all of it. And I really just wanted to kind of, I guess, say it back to you and then we can kind of have a discussion on it. But without further ado, let's get this interview started. Kevin Lambert is a 30-year game design veteran who has left fingerprints on both cult classics, Tron 2.0 and Dungeon Siege 2, and global icons like Microsoft Solitaire. And at Microsoft, he patented a feature that led millions of Solitaire players set difficulty dynamically, proving his obsession with customer satisfaction. And today, as a co-founder and CPO of Koin Games, Lambert channels the same philosophy into Project O, a Web3 collectible card game built not on earn mechanics, but on fun to play, fun to watch, and rewarding ownership. And where I really wanted to start this interview, Kevin, is that looking at it objectively, looking at like your career arc of like the arcade kid turned designer, the Monolith years, the Microsoft era, and also even in your Web3 era, you have been completely consumed and almost overly obsessed with customer satisfaction. It's something that I've like seen through all of your journey of like, hey, dynamically changing difficulty levels so people can have a better specific one. Writing your article on the different types of cohorts, even in Web3 of like, you know, the extrinsic, intrinsic, as well as the chats. We can talk a little bit about that. But where did this like customer obsession come from? Was it just picking it up through your 30 years or was it always something that you focused on whenever you were an early kid?
I think I've always been a user experience maxi. Like back in the old days when I was a kid and would be sitting in the doctor's office and everybody's like nervous about getting called in and we're all bored and there's other kids in the lobby, I would like crumple up a piece of paper and be like, yo, 50 points if you could get it in the plant potter in the corner and like an extra 100 if you can bank it off a couple of walls. So I was just always about trying to make fun things for people. And, you know, that just got me excited about user experiences in general. So when like Amazon used to say, we're customer obsessed here, you know, like that resonated so strongly with me. I'm like, yes, customer obsessed is what I would definitely call it.
It's like it's not just customers obsessed though too. It's like it's really good quality product. I think you even said this, right? So you refuse to settle for good. So like in your words, 4 out of 5 stars is like still a B. I aim for 4.5 or 85 out of 100 minimum. And that's pretty rare, especially now when games are trending like, hey, early access, it's going to be broken, but we'll patch it up later. Like, why are you so obsessed of like making sure that customer satisfaction as well as the quality bar is high right off the get?
Because you only get one first impression and you really got to nail it. And that's the time to build trust. So like if I'm building a house and I'm going to let you come into it while I'm building it, I'm really only going to let you in one room. It's going to be like the living room, but that room will have the chandelier, the soft closed drawers, the animated LED lighting, warm lighting on the track lighting on the floor. And so you'll be like, dude, when can I see the kitchen and the upstairs? And I'll be like, not for a while. I'm still working on those. But you will trust that my house will look good when it's done. So I prefer that to like, you walk in, come check out the unfinished basement, and there's like, are you gonna put sheetrock on here, bro? So I don't know. There's a couple of ways to do it. That's just how I like to do it.
Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes of all time on Gamified, which for people that don't know, Gamified is run by one of my best friends, Sam Stefanina. On Wednesdays, you should check it out. And he pretty much puts the best builders, Kevin's one of them, into a room on X Spaces and then goes ham, right? And one banger quote that you said was that people like build in public, they don't like figuring it out in public. And what you just kind of mentioned right there is like, hey, figuring it out in public is like kind of telling somebody, hey, what do you think about this kitchen? Like, we're not really done yet. But like really to your point, the chandelier, the nice things that are currently that soft, the soft plating, that's really built in public. Can you kind of tell me a little bit of that? I've always wanted to double click into it ever since you said it on Gamified, of like what you mean by figuring it out in public versus build in public.
Well, when I say people don't like figuring it out in public, they don't like detecting that the team doesn't have confidence in what they're building, but they do like when you consult them, like when we are building, we do build in public, right? We're in our Discord, we're talking to the community, and we're like, what do you think of these cards? What do you think of these characters? You know, not that we don't have an idea, like we have a very clear path forward, and it's important to set that tone. But you know, then from there, you've built the trust that you know what you're doing. And when you ask the community, you know, like, do you guys prefer drawing one card per turn or two? Like, tell us what you liked about both of those. They like that. So it's a combination. It's not a binary. Don't ever build in public. It's just establish your high level plan and goals, and let folks know that like we're gonna build this, but we'd love to get your feedback and your input.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't know, because I was at GDC, I heard this story. Tim was talking about it. You know, when Koin Games first started, you first had a prototype for an auto battler, and it was completely scrapped. And I think there was actually other iterations and vertical slices that you guys also threw away because it wasn't like fun to watch, or you pivoted to a TCG after that combines like competitive and also your background in TCGs. You know, you're even a big player of like Parallel, which is another Web3 game here that's in our specific sector with blockchain ownership. And so you were really into kind of these vertical slices, but like, why throw away? You know, I think that's a lot of like, I guess, newer builders and newer founders. They would kind of hold on to something that they poured so much time and effort into. Like, tell me more about that. Like, why did you guys throw it away?
So basically the TLDR is because it wasn't meeting our product goals. But you know, you never know, because a hit game is part luck, part right place, right, being at the right place at the right time, and part you know what you're cooking.
Right.
You know, a lot of folks who have been in games for a while can look at a game, and I can't tell you if it's going to be a hit, but I can tell you if it's not going to be a hit, right? Like you never know if it's got all the ingredients, but you can be pretty confident that, yeah, this just doesn't have what it takes to hit that high bar. And we were seeing that, right? We were like, yeah, the game is fun. We're playing it. We're having a good time, but it wasn't hitting the fun to watch goals. It wasn't really digestible. You know, when you think about the viewer, player, streamer experience loop that we want, you know, where streamers are like, oh, no way, did you see that? You want those high intensity shareable moments. It just wasn't really nailing those. And so we were like, it's okay. Like it probably would have been a B level game if we shipped it in Web 2. We're like, that's not what we're here for, right? We need to go above this. And that means having the hard conversations about, hey, if this isn't meeting the product goals and our spidey senses be tingling, then let's make the call now, you know, to pivot.
Yeah, it's a veteran move though. I've worked at a game studio with Azure with Marco Tero, who really cut a whole vertical. You know, a lot of people don't know this about Azra. It was like kind of like a top-down RTS type of game at first, right? And it ended up becoming, no, that's not it. And I think that's a lot of a veteran specific team, is that you have this kind of cost basis or cost bias, and you don't really want to throw away something that means more to you. But like a very famous like videography saying is that you got to kill your darlings, right? And there's those things that like might have been a B, and sometimes you're satisfied with a B, you know, especially if you didn't study for it. But on that aspect of things, it's making sure that you can get that next quality to A. And Project O has shown that at GDC. Just to kind of brag on you guys, you know, GDC, it was by far the most hit game. People could not drop it. You know, you guys had like a 2-hour, 3-hour slot to be able to play the game, and people were playing it. Hey, okay, cool. The LAN party is up. Let's play Project O, and doing these one-on-ones. So congratulations. And before we get into Project O, I do want to touch on a cohort doc that you actually sent to me before you sent it out to the public. But it was really talking about Billy, Vinny, and Chad, and really these different types of cohorts in which that we're kind of having in Web3. And I would love for you to just kind of give a quick synopsis of it, just for people to understand what it is about. And I would like to just kind of have a discussion, because I think me and you had a discussion on the cohorts and maybe the difference between each.
Yeah, I love giving names to the Web3. We talk about personas all the time in product design and game design. And it's just like, who are we making this experience for? And let's visualize them. Let's put a picture of them up on the wall. What's their name? So we named them. And in our world in Web3, I see 3 personas and then some hybrids of them, of course.
Right.
And we named them Billy, Vinny, and Chad, just to give them names that we can talk about them. And Billy is the traditional gamer who doesn't even know about Web3. He just plays for fun, and he cares about the quality of the game and social experiences. So everybody in Web2 is Billy, right?
Yeah.
Then there is Vinny, who is a Web3 profit-motivated individual in it for the tech, so we say here. And you know, they are looking for returns. They are looking for investment, and they will play. They may even enjoy games, but they're primarily here for financial motivation.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of folks that would fit that niche that you could probably name from some of your friends or Discord groups.
Yeah.
And then there is Chad, who is the Web3 aware version of Billy. He cares about ownership, digital property ownership, but he's still primarily motivated by fun. And you're probably turning your head to the side going, are there many Chads out there today? Aren't they all Vinnies? You're like, we're still growing Chads, because there aren't very many natively fun Web3 games, but they're coming. So, and then there's many Vinny Chad hybrids, right? Who like to play for fun and a little profit on the side.
For sure. And I think a lot of the people that would kind of push back on that is that like Chad's total addressable market is just like not going to grow, because, you know, the Billies just don't really ever wants to turn into a Chad. You know, they don't ever want this tech that is integrated in terms of ownership. What would you say to those type of people? Because I would say, actually, you know, I would be a Chad. Obviously I'm a Chad, but in terms of that, of the descriptor that you're saying is like, I actually probably play more for fun, and then kind of ownership is secondary, which is more of like a Billy like Chad hybrid. But in terms of people would push back on that, what do you say to people that say like the Chads are not going to grow year over year? What is that maybe core source of why they think that?
So when they say the Chads aren't going to grow year over year, they're probably saying that people don't want to be their own bank and have MetaMask and all the UX and UI cruft that's in Web3. And I actually agree with that. But the same way that I would say Billies don't care if your game uses AWS or Azure to store their data, Chads won't care what chain you're on, because the experience will be abstracted into like this item that I have in my inventory, like World of Warcraft. It just so happens that I own it, and I can trade it and send it to other people and monetize it, because that's what ownership means in the digital world. They won't even know, but they will be Web3 aware, because they'll be Chad because of a great user experience, and because there's experiences around the ownership, and that they will care about that, and that makes them Chad.
Yeah. And like, even just to kind of put it into the physical TCG landscape, there's people that play Pokemon, but people that also collect Pokemon. And I will just even put this up on stage. You probably see Kyroh says, Kevin and Co are the only reason why I'm addicted to Pokemon cards. So thank you for that, Kevin. And it really was. At GDC, he became addicted to Pokemon cards. And I literally watched a live stream with him and his girlfriend last night opening Pokemon cards. So you have definitely opened up Pandora's box for them. Before we move on to another question or even digging deeper, IC wants to kind of go back real quick from the audience here. How hard was it to scrap V1 of Project O and start all over? What implications did that have on funding, runway, investors? It's a really great question from IC. Thank you, IC, for sending it in. But would love to hear your thoughts on it.
It was really tough, although I would say that the fact that myself and Tim and my other co-founders are hyper competitive. So because of that, because we're competitive in games, in business and life, it was very easy to be like, guys, we're not going to win with this one. It's just not looking like it. So that part made it easy. The hard part was the business side of it. It was just like, man, we put probably close to $1 million in spend into this so far. Like, are we sure this is the right thing to do? So we went through some of that. Like, the spidey senses started tingling, and then they got louder and louder. And because we were all aligned and we didn't have to sell anybody, it was easier. We were all seeing it through the same lens. It wasn't a fight or anything like that. But and it was just one of those, like, well, we can either go forward and end up with what we all believe is a B title. Maybe we'll do something good with it, or we can. And we didn't even have the TCG at that point. We had to go actually back to paper prototyping and cook that. So I was just excited to look for something that we could all look at and say is an A. And I'm like, guys, I know we'll find it. Just give us some time. And it was scary, but even Tim didn't flinch at the, hey, we need to go back into the kitchen for like a couple of months to find a design.
That's scary. Like Shasan brings up a good point from the comment sections. Like, sunk cost fallacy is tricky. You take strong fit, and also you don't even know what you're pivoting into. It seemed like that was a very like risky thing to do from a business side of things. It's like, hey, like, we just need some time. And there's a lot of like different types of constraints and business constraints, and like, you don't want to let people go. So there's just type of this feeling. And one thing before we move on from the subject is like, some probably early founders, people that don't have 30 years of experience like you, and even working on like smaller teams like you are currently. How do you develop a culture like that? How do you develop a culture? And this might be one for Tim and also for you to discuss together. But how do you develop a culture that like you can have those hard conversations and saying, hey, it's time to scrap. It's time to have like that B title off the record, right? Like, how do you build that internally, especially as somebody that's maybe trying to build a team like that?
That has to come from the top down. We're very passionate about the culture that we have, and how I would describe, like, when we're interviewing people and they're like, what's it like to work here? The way that I usually describe that, like, Tim will have his own words for this, but I say, there are zero egos here. And that's really hard to find in game development. Like, I've worked at other game studios, and there's always a couple of rock stars there, and they know they're rock stars. They act like they're rock stars, and but they can do that because, you're like, look at what I've shipped, guys. We don't have any of that. And we encourage everybody to speak their mind, whether it's the QA guy or the tester or even the community member. The guy who just started last week, we're like, what do you think? And we want them to challenge what they see. And that's what we do as well. Like, even at the top, we're challenging constantly. Like, is this good? You're like, and when we ask people to look at our game, we're like, tell us how ugly our baby is, right? Be direct, be honest, right? This is why I get along with folks like Jonah and the people who are like controversial in the industry, because they tell it like it is. I actually prefer that. And so I would say building that culture has to start at the top. That it's a safe circle to speak your mind, to challenge what you don't like, and to validate what you do. And I feel like you just end up with good products that way. Did I lose Peyton? Did Peyton get rugged? Am I going to have to fill? Is that what's happening? Or am I the rugged one? Did I go? Is there anybody in the chat? What happened there? I'm not sure if I lost connection or not, but Peyton disappeared. Let me hop in Discord and see.
I'm so sorry, Kevin.
Was that me or was that you?
1 second. I don't know why.
Testing, testing. Was that me or you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So sorry about that.
Was that me or you that reg there?
That was me.
Okay.
Like, my whole computer just froze, which
tanked.
is not good. Yeah, it just tanked.
Okay.
So apologies on that.
No worries. We were we were talking about the culture, and you know, we really open that we try to build a culture of collaboration and humility, where there just are, we don't have any, we've even interviewed folks who were very famous and have worked on games that I'm sure many folks in the audience know.
Yeah.
And they just came off a little bit, I won't say arrogant, but a little like it just wasn't a perfect culture fit. You know, there was a little bit of that chip on the shoulder, and that just wouldn't fit in our, that would be a cog that wouldn't fit in our machine.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. No, I think like developing a team and everything like that, from what I've seen, even the people that you've hired, even from the Web3 space, is definitely, you've gotten like the cream of the crop, right? But also the cream of the crop that also have humility, and that's like very hard to also balance, of like this humility plus like people that are willing to be able to work hard and do all that stuff. So very respectful in terms of that. But one thing I wanted to do is like really just kind of let you kind of go and talk about Project O. And I also want to come from a place, Kevin, of what your background is in TCGs. I've seen you play TCGs for a long time. You've talked about Hearthstone. You know, you showed up at like GDC in a jersey, but kind of go into like your history of TCGs and why you're so passionate about Project O. Because it seems like whenever you talk about it, you talk about the streaming aspect, the entertainment aspect of it, you just kind of like light up. So would love to just kind of hear your take on it.
Sure. I've been a TCG maxi for a long time. I mean, I play just pretty much every game. Like just hundreds of thousands of hours. I'm playing Silk Song right now.
Yeah,
that's a nice try hard game. But I've always had an affinity for the thinkers games. Like the way I get, like I used to play like Quake and first person shooters, and I just kind of realized that like my niche for competitive gaming, when I want to get competitive in gaming, are thinkers games. They're a little like chess and like turn-based games and games where you have time to work things out and problem solve. So I've gravitated more towards card games than I have towards like FPSs or battle royales and stuff like that. Just because, and I'm getting older too. So like, I think, you know, my brain can keep sharp longer than my reflexes can.
Right.
So I used to play TCGs competitively. I used to play Magic competitively. There was a game called before Hearthstone called the World of Warcraft TCG. It was pretty awesome, actually. It used the same mana system that Parallel is using now, with where you bank your cards if you don't have mana. And I actually went to the World Championship tournament of that like twice. They flew me to Paris once. It was pretty awesome. So, and then I got into Hearthstone, but I had a career at that time, so I couldn't put as much time in as, you know, those fellow kids do. So I just had to play it like after hours. But I've been part of a league. So I've always loved TCGs. I've played almost all of them. And when the opportunity came up to blend in TCG to fix our watchability problem with our auto battler, it was a natural fit. I mean, like, hey, we could go TCG. They're easier to watch because they're slower.
Right.
But actually, what we took from our auto battler was the simultaneous turns. We're like, hey, rather than like wait a minute and a half for your opponent to take the turn, and then your streamer is like just fidgeting with their poker chips in the background and talking about life. There's the action is snappier in that case. So on the game side, we wanted a game that sat between Hearthstone and Marvel Snap in complexity, like a little easier to learn than Hearthstone, a little more depth than a game like Marvel Snap, where you could have a world championship tournament and a road to worlds where competitive players would be able to get excited about that.
That's very cool. And in terms of like Project O, like you guys also have like different like mechanics than the typical, right? You know, for me, I'm not too familiar with like TCGs as it stands, but you know, Sam, who played all the games that you talked about, said that like he hasn't felt this feeling since like Hearthstone. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that this like Project O captured a lot of it? Obviously based off of a lot of your experience and doing it, but what is it about Project O that's making people that have kind of maybe not fallen back from TCGs, but never had that feeling again? Why do you think that is?
I think it is because of the watchability goals that we
Mm,
have for the product, and some of the some of the love we put into the presentation of the game. I think that's what's triggering folks like
yeah,
Sam. I mean, some of it is just falling back on good fundamentals, but when you have a goal like your grandma needs to be able to learn this in 2 minutes and it should be fun to watch, then we're putting in things like, hey, when the cards flip over, they do so with a little
right.
dramatic flair, and the large card stays on the screen longer
Very
so
cool.
that players, viewers, and opponents can be like, oh, that's what's going on.
Right.
Okay. Like it, putting those features in for viewers actually makes it good for players
Yeah.
too, because you're like, I've never played this game before. Oh, I can
Right.
tell what's happening.
Right.
So it's those little touches that I think they may be nickels and dimes, but they add up to $1 when you put them
Yeah.
all together.
I
And
like
I
that.
think it's the package that Sam, and folks like that are reacting to. They're like, I'm not really like there were a few people at Wolves Den at GDC that are like, Kyroh was one of them. I don't really
Kyroh.
play
Mhm.
TCGs, but this one for some reason works for me.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's
even
it's
for
it.
me, like Kevin,
Yeah.
I am not somebody that plays TCGs, and Project O
Mhm.
kept my retention longer than any other TCG. I usually like kind of do it. It's like, cause I've had that feeling, right? That you've had, Kevin, is like, I'm getting older. I need something that's a little bit more slower pace, but still kind of I can complete. And it just hit a lot of those wickets for me in terms of TCG, that I was just like, man, I didn't know that I wanted to collect these or be able to play these. And Project O hit that at Wolves Den for me, which is not usually very common. Like Sam, out of our relationship, is kind of like that TCG guy, and so is Blake. He played Magic the Gathering and all that stuff, and even like Blake loves like Project O and what you guys are doing. And so it's very exciting. One thing that you also kind of talked about, and I don't see this a lot from other products, is kind of the watchability. And by watchability, or even just like substitute that from like kind of a meta layer on top of the game, why do you care so much about that? Why do you not just care about, hey, make a good game, publish it on the App Store and get player account and all that stuff? Why are you caring about the full experience, the meta, the grandmother that's, needs to understand it, the streamer that needs to play it and view it, and then and the viewer that needs to view it? Why do you care so much about the meta aspect around the TCG?
Because it's an amazing virtuous cycle, right?
Mhm.
When you have a streamer who says, I want to play this game because it's fun and my audience is huge, so I can play it for a
Right.
living. And when you have viewers who are like, I want to watch my favorite streamer play this game. And then when you have a player say, I want to play now that I've watched and learned,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have this triangle of viewer, player, streamer that's like they feed each other. And you're like, oh,
Mm,
I need to stream today because I want to get my viewer count up. And I need
yeah,
to watch today because I want to learn what the best decks are. I need to play today because I just
yeah,
saw some amazing technique. Like it feeds itself in a way that even just a good game that doesn't have watchability can't do.
yeah. No,
And
that's amazing.
even the collector experience we're thinking about,
Mhm.
which we haven't talked about much, but we're trying to bring a the joy of physical card collecting, and
Yeah,
Kyroh will light up when he hear like his now he's into Pokemon cards, right? There's this joy of cracking packs and putting
yeah,
boxes on your shelf and like, dude, I'm gonna stream the opening of this
yeah.
where it's fun to watch other people, get an amazing pull. We're even
Right.
putting watchability into our collector experience in the
Yeah.
game too.
Yeah, that's something that I really wanted to talk to Tim about, because whenever I like hear Tim talk about the collectible experience of things, because he's obviously collected Pokemon, he's the one that kind of got orange pilled Kyro into being this Pokemon fanatic. There is something that is said to be had whenever you feel that feeling for the first time, and ripping packs together. And I think there hasn't been a project, and I love that you guys are focusing on this, that really focuses on that, right? Even like there's test of time, like, Genshin, like gotcha boxes and all that stuff. There's a lot of fun kind of experiences that you can have in a digital landscape. And I can't wait to explore like what you guys are doing, because I know that you guys have a mix of this physical collector background with Tim, your specific product and TCG experience in your 30-year of game development. I'm just like really excited to just see the full story of it. And we're starting to see it unfold in Project O. So before you get going, Kevin, where can people find you? And then also, where can people start maybe playing the game if they can, which I know that you guys do some like early access stuff in Discord, but I know that you guys maybe not doing it today or tomorrow. But when is the next type of availability that people can get their hands on Project O?
Yeah, you can find me just my name at Kevin Lambert on X. I'm also in Discord all the time. You can find us at Project O. That's the letter O, not the number 0.gg. So projecto.gg.
Got to do some of that training on that one. Yeah.
And if you go to the website, you can click the Discord button, get in our Discord. You can automatically now just get the playtester role. And we do play tests and game nights every Friday. So every Friday afternoon, we just play the game with the community. So if you haven't played and you want to try it, just hop in our Discord, give yourself the playtester role. You can check it out.
Cool. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. And coming in early a little bit too. I appreciate you and being ready to go whenever I pulled you up. So I didn't have to flounder. So thank you so much, Kevin. And Project O, I'm looking forward to it. Mobile release, hopefully sometime soon, in terms of when people should expect maybe the release, maybe in 2026, early 2026.
Yeah. We'll be in beta. We're aiming for beta at the end of this year and worldwide launch at some point next year.
Nice. Well, congratulations. I'm looking forward to it. All right, Kevin. I'll see you later, buddy.
Thanks, Peyton. Thanks for having me.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, that is the first interview of AlphaWolves, and it was a great one, even though I somehow disappeared. I just like literally vanished. I have no clue how that happened. I'll figure it out, but it was crazy. Like it might have been like my building or something, and all the lights went off and back on real quick. So it didn't like really trigger my PC, but it triggered like literally everything. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But hopefully you guys also enjoyed it. Kevin was hopefully dancing for me or not. Yeah, there must be a tech issue on the episode 1. It just has to happen. I have to figure out like probably a bonding service or something like that. I've been telling everybody about bonding services for a while. And now I got hit by it for this. And so, but what we're going to be doing next is actually doing a video by Dith. So Dith currently, for people that don't know, just had a celebration, a life event of his specific kid getting born. So he has another boy, and he's just kind of doing parental leave right now. But like I told him, I was like, hey, how about we record something prior to your to the birth, and we can just ship it on AlphaWolves Live. And so we'll watch that together. But that will be something that we do here in the next probably, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But one thing that I wanted to kind of go through was a lot of the live chats. And also somebody that I really wanted to highlight was Taylor with the first super chat I've ever gotten on YouTube. So thank you so much, Taylor, for that. Really means a lot to me. And yeah, we'll put it into the treasury. But I really do appreciate it. And also a lot of people that said a really great comments for it. Like, Jordan, Ramek, thank you so much for coming in. Gaming Daily, as always. And also Icy with a really great take in terms of what he had in terms of questions. And so I'm really excited about, we mentioned Kyroh a lot on the stream. And so I'm excited to get Kyroh on the stream for a little bit later today. He's been honestly obsessed. Like I mentioned on last night, I was on X and I was just chilling out, and I saw like his stream go up. I was like, oh, I wonder what Kyroh's doing. Literally being just ripping packs. He's like literally ripping packs with his girlfriend. And I was learning that stuff too. So I'm excited. I'm also talking to Inhuman about coming on next week to talk about different types of like things that he's doing for Shiny and kind of the collecting aspect of things. And so also wanted to just get your guys' take on things that are currently happening in the space. Is there somebody that you want to talk to that I should be talking to for a lot of like AlphaWolves? But we have a great network in which that we can kind of pick on. But just to kind of go through the calendar of who I'm going to be talking to in future episodes. Next week, I'll be talking to Star Platinum and his rise to distribution and what he does in terms of X. Dith is Kyroh's already ready to go. But and then Doyo Kim as well from Cross. He's somebody that is really great. And then Nick Don't Die as well from Nick Metzler. And so really excited about that. And then we have Corey Wright, Crypto Gorilla, Jazz from LFG. And then we also have a whole bunch of people in like October already. So we have like James. We also have Leon Abode. We have football.fun. It's a crazy amount of stuff. Give Alpha, Dub, what do you need, buddy? Who do you want me to get alpha from? Is the question. And so that is something that I need to know from you guys as I go through this specific one. And then for Kyroh, we are going to be getting Kyroh getting going soon. Kyroh's here early, so if he wants to join early, we can we can just rip it from here, because why not? 1 second though, let me get set up here for Kyroh, and then we'll get it going. I love that you're here, dude. I am. What do I need to do here? Oh yeah, I want to get your intro up because I worked on it, brother. Okay, Ramek here saying would love interviews with football.fun, Mythical, Pudgy's team, and Photo Finish Live. Actually, I would very be interested for Photo Finish Live. Not saying that the other two aren't important. The football.fun is going to be on October 14th, Ramek. And then the Mythical and Pudgy's team is also going to be sometime in October. The person that I'm going to be talking to is Freeze, who's doing all these stuff. He's been a lifelong, not lifelong. He's been like a Wolves member for like 3 years. And so he was previously at what was it? He was at a fund before. And then now he's currently at Play Mythical. So I already have that in the books. But Photo Finish Live, that's actually somebody that I would love to talk to, because they've been in the space for a very long time. Horse betting and all that stuff is kind of very cool to me. And then I will get Kyroh up here soon. Yeah, Slayer, thank you. Delphi. He was at Delphi for like 2 years. He was like an analyst there, and then he cut his teeth there, and then worked with Play Mythical now. So really excited to see what he has to say. And then also just let me make sure. Kyroh's got a freaking this guy. All right. Welcome, Kyroh, to the show. This man is amazing. This guy is he's just gonna be ripping packs. I was telling him, hey dude, I know you have a massive addiction to ripping packs, but how about you just like maybe stay present for the show? And he actually didn't say I won't do it. I think he actually is going to do it. Before we get to that, Kyroh. Actually, also let me change the banner for really like what we're going to be talking about today, because I want people to stop and say, play to earn NFT gaming is dead. Why a guild, Kyroh? In a lot of capacities, and so I'm excited about this. But first and foremost, I want to introduce my friend here. Kyroh is an esports competitor turned Web3 gaming founder. He took the discipline of grinding leaderboards in traditional games and applied it to blockchain economies during the Axie Infinity boom by spotting inefficiencies. I think that's something that I've seen a through line through your specific life, even just the guides that I've been watching from you in terms of OTG and even from Axie stuff. You saw that whales were holding assets but not playing, but he built Mark of the Zeal, which we're going to be talking about today, into one of the most profitable guilds in Web3. Today, with over 2,000 members, he started around 10 people and thousands of Axie land plots. Mark of the Zeal operates validators, NFTs, and partnerships across Ronin, Avalanche, Immutable, and Zai. He also worked with Yield Guild Games as their head of guilds and creator relations. And dude, Kyroh, you're freaking an amazing friend. And I'm excited to just really just dump in with you on this. But obviously, I also know that you want to rip packs. So there's all kinds of things, man. Welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
Yo, I'm happy to be on the very first show, the
inaugural
edition. I'm stoked about that. Yo, good intro. You got
Thank you, brother.
All of that right.
Did anything I miss? Obviously,
it's hard to even think about, man. Like, there's so much that has gone on to get to this point that, like, now, bro, intros are just a blur because I don't even remember half of what's gone on at this point. So.
I will say one of my favorite moments though is in Off the Grid. It was for people to set the scene here. Kyroh was participating in a Off the Grid specific competition with Inhuman and other major streamers that like we all grew up watching, and he won thousands of dollars in this tournament. But one of my favorite like moments was me watching you in Manila, where you should have been in terms of YGG, because you were like, hey, Gabby, can I do this thing? And he was very gracious in letting you do it.
W Gabby.
Yeah, W Gabby for sure. And so you came in and you also freaking won. And I remember all of the wolves in Manila were like freaking out watching you live. And it was just one of the coolest experiences. I think I sent it to you while you were playing. I didn't know if you were like going to open it up, but I knew that you said, oh, that was freaking awesome.
No, the clip of you guys watching was so cool. That was
yeah.
That made my
but
day.
It was such a cool point in the tournament too. Like it was a really like, I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching it for it for sure. But dude, we can take it any way. We could even like start off ripping packs or whatever it is. But
let's do one real quick just to break the ice.
Let's just break the ice.
Let's just do one real quick.
Yeah, Slayer saying live pack ripping.
All right, I got you guys. Just give me a second. I gotta open this whole new booster box for you. Yeah, so I've been addicted to Pokemon cards. Why? This actually leads into what we're gonna talk about a lot. I've been a collector ever since I was a little kid. I actually started with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards, and then I grew up kind of near Peyton. I was in the middle of the boondocks in Kansas, and you know, I would just play a lot of sports and things like that. And but as a kid, I was like really into the Pokemon like Game Boy games. And I would just buy packs every time we would go to Walmart. That was like 20 minutes away from us. That was like the only store you could go to. And so we would go there. And when we would go on the weekends, I would get a pack of Pokemon cards. Eventually, it had a lot of really cool stuff. And then we got nothing. And then my mom eventually like gave away my binder or something. So I kind of just like had forgotten about Pokemon in general. But I'd always had like that collector inside of me. Whether it was just like, it usually came out in like video game memorabilia. Like if you were to, here, let me change camera. If you were to take a look around my office, it's just a bunch of video game stuff.
Yeah. Congratulations on the new office, by the way. That's freaking fantastic.
It's so nice, man. It's so nice to be able to separate stuff. And like once I start getting a lot of the content that we've gotten pre-recorded out, it just shows how we've like started to utilize it. And it feels so much more professional, which is the whole reason I did it. So
for sure. Well,
but anyways,
for people that don't know, he upgraded from like his kind of, he used to do the.
I was in my kitchen, bro.
Yeah, I was in my kitchen. And he upgraded into his own office, and it looks fantastic. I think it's really great what you guys are doing and what you're able to do with it now. So really excited about that. But dude, I want to jump into this topic because this was like one of the first things I like. The reason why I wanted you on episode 1 was because I was like, I want somebody to throw a curveball. I want somebody that like is doing something different. But at the same time also can kind of back up his claims or even just like have kind of proof in the pudding in a lot of aspects. And that's kind of why I wanted you on. Kyroh has been a good friend, but I wanted to dig into it. Why like play to earn NFTs? Like everybody's saying it's dead, dude. Everyone's saying like, hey, there's no reason to invest into it. And then I see on the timeline, Kyroh got 250K to manage NFTs and to do this guild that's like Mark of the Zeal. And there's just something in your mind that's saying, you know, play to earn isn't done. And so would love for you to dig into that topic of like, what do you say to people that play to earn is dead? NFT gaming is dead, you know, Ronin and all that stuff. It's kind of a failed experiment.
Yeah, I just think that they're wrong. I think that, like I'm going to try to like reel it in and keep it close, but there's just so much that's gone into this to get to this point. But I would say that just like for the longest time since the like initial decline after the huge boom of all of crypto gaming, people just started to forget about a lot of the projects that are here with working economies. You know, a lot of people like to say that like everything's dead or whatever. And like, sure, stuff is very down across the board. And I am the first to say that like TGEs for gaming has freaking sucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are games out there that have working economies, and a lot of them are on Ronin. And for those, we've been so deeply ingrained with them since the explosion first happened that we just know our way around all of them. And there is ample opportunity to make money if you want to go out and play the games and do it. And you just have to put in a lot of time, and you have to have people around you that know what they're doing. But yeah, I think that there's just a lot of stuff that got ignored for a really long time. That people came into crypto gaming 2021 and they learned like surface level knowledge about Axie and all these other games that are out there, but they didn't ever really dive deep into them. And if they did, they kind of stopped after a while. But there was just, what I saw was a chance for arbitrage because there's a lot of assets that are out there that have access to ecosystem reward pools that will go on for multiple years from even this point. And a lot of people that, or the people that are getting them, are just the people that own the assets and that care enough to still play. And there's not a lot of like people really actively going and, I don't know, playing and farming these things. And so for the one that we specifically found was Axie Infinity Land was the thing that got me into crypto gaming in general. And what it turned into was essentially a way for these land plots to yield AXS token. And that AXS token, I mean, AXS has stayed pretty strong for a long time. It's down a lot, but it's still
very strong token. A lot of volume on it as well. And
there's those ecosystem rewards for the AXS token that span multiple years. And whenever Homeland's first playable version came out, basically it was like passive staking. So you'd stake the land NFTs and you would earn from it. And then that stopped and it turned into active gameplay. And I knew that when active gameplay came, there are people with hundreds of these land plots that just simply don't have the time to go out and play them. And this goes for the Axies too, and a lot of other assets from other games. There's just so many people out there that want to spend money accumulating these assets and be a part of the ecosystem, but they don't have the time to play it. So what I did was I formed a guild that has the best players that you can find, and we help cultivate new players, and we do the work and we get a cut for it. And that has been a sustainable model for us for the past 2 years now. I would argue that we're probably the most profitable guild in crypto gaming. And that's all come from what a lot of people on a day-to-day basis consider dead games. And no one in our circle considers them dead because they're every day what we're working and playing on, and their livelihood. And like, there's just this whole bubble that is ignored by the rest of crypto gaming or just crypto in general. Like gaming is so ignored. There's just this bubble of people. I'll say this, bro. Last year, I had people making multiple thousands of dollars playing one single title for a couple hours of their day. And now it's less than that, but I still have multiple people that are making 4 figures just playing video games a month. And I don't know, for what people consider being dead, I just think that there's chance for arbitrage there, and there's food left on the table at that point.
I think that's something that's one of your biggest strengths, is like arbitrage, right? In terms of understanding discrepancies of things and challenging the status quo on it. Like you said, gaming has been ignored, but even within the gaming sector, it's been kind of like left for dead. You know, that's kind of the thing. It's like, hey, play to earn, NFTs, all those ecosystem pools. There is something to be said that I wanted to kind of dig out from what you just said, was this feeling that people are just ignoring things that they just don't understand, right? And what do people, you think, on average, even in the gaming sector, right, even in the web, like myself included, what are people like not seeing, like that arbitrage opportunity or the ignorance of like games that are being more active now than they were maybe passively before? What are people missing nowadays that play to earn still has like life in it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's not going to be like fun. Like, you're not like having a lot of fun in a lot of these games. It's more of like tasks that you need to complete, and a lot of it is just straight up farming rewards that were like predetermined from a long time ago that just want to keep players in the ecosystem. And like, I'm not going to act like everything that we do is like going for the betterment of the game. Like, we're going to a lot of these games to find the arbitrage chance. And as for like what people are missing, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I'm just so biased towards a lot of the Ronin games because that's what I got into whenever I started crypto.
It's not just that, Kyroh, though. It's like the Ronin games are one of the only playable ones too, right? So like now, like Ronin has been, especially whenever I talk to Jihos and just to kind of give some brag on Ronin, is that whenever their specific pipeline of getting games into, like whenever I was talking to Jiho, like what are kind of the things that need to happen before they're even considered. This was before Ronin was open, but was considered to be on Ronin. And Jiho was like a working product, which that wasn't necessarily, which kind of sounds stupid to say out loud.
It does.
That wasn't something that people were really vetting for. They were just kind of looking at narrative or possibly the success of a narrative to kind of give like TGE or NFTs life. But Ronin had that mix in their hand, like, hey, like, no, we want people that are actually working products in it. So I would say
With-
to defend you a little bit that, like, yes, you're going to be biased towards Ronin, but Ronin were also the ones that kind of had those systems in place and also were workable products at the time.
Yeah, and with those workable products, even now, it's like those are the things that we can use as our base and foundation for earning instantly, leading into the other bets that we have as a guild, which is like pre-TGE products like Fableborn and Cambria and things like that. So like the already established products that have proven themselves. I mean, you know, people always say, when are we going to get a working economy in Web3 or a game that has this working economy? But like in my experience, it's been here since I arrived. And like the way that I got to where I am today is because I learned the Axie Infinity marketplace so well that it got me a job at Super Whale, and Super Whale then turned into Quest, which then turned into Moku HQ. And so like I learned how to like trade and flip on the Axie marketplace, and that got me connections with all of the people in the community, the OG whales that I now run their assets for them for. And, you know, through those things, we've built up a lot of goodwill with them. And then that leads into the raise that we now have, which isn't even really a raise. It's just, we're starting another project that we're going to manage. And those specific people believe in it so much that they wanted to kickstart it. And then now we're opening that up to the community as well.
I love that. And just to kind of give some context on kind of the mark of the Zeal, like, we say raise, but to Kyroh just kind of corrected it. It was around like 275K, right? Built on like a Ronin like NFT vault. And now you guys hold number one, Fishing Frenzy co-founders. Like, I think you guys hold 31, play Cambria cores 500 plus. And this goes to what you guys said about that. Hey, there's probably an arbitrage opportunity for TGEs that are very solid games as well too. Fable War Kingdom 500 plus, Moku HQ 320 plus, Axie Infinity Land Guild 3000 plus plots. Crazy.
By the way, that 3000 plus, that is probably like 60 or more % of the total played assets in that game. And we have been running that for like nearly 2 years.
Crazy.
It's crazy that people are posting like anniversaries of being here working full time for 2 years in our guild. Like,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
But like, how does that make you feel though, too? Like in terms, there's also some rhetoric around like, you know,
I guess the most fulfilling thing that's here. You already, I mean, you know more than anyone else here. It's the most fulfilling thing. But for me to explain it to everyone else, there's just the amount of opportunity that I've been able to open up in other people's lives simply for putting money in the right places is, I can't even begin to describe it. But, you know, people going out doing mission drives, initiatives for holidays, relief funds, all of this organized strictly by the community just because of what we've been able to do. And then beyond that, just literally pay and upgrade people's lives for the last 2 years, like 4 or 5x what they're normally making outside of that through just playing video games for us. So, and if I had to give up everything and keep one thing, I would just keep the guild because it's just the most fulfilling part of every day here.
That's awesome, man. Well, I agree with you, and I definitely resonate with that. You're just such a perplexing individual though, Kyroh, because like you are somebody that is also comes from like the pro scene, has like, and this is what I kind of want to validate it, because I think some people might just be like, who's this guy, right? Like, he probably isn't like a true gamer. Like, and I think that's what people might think. Like, yeah, exactly. Please don't. I don't want that smoke. But in terms of that, kind of go through your history of like, even before, you know, you kind of talked a lot about like the Web3 days, but even before that, you have been like a lifelong gamer. You've entered into tournaments. You know, it's just kind of it's a weird thing because people kind of separate a person like you. It's like either they're like a pro gamer or a gamer, or they're super big into P2E. And that's kind of what I want to kind of dig into is like kind of what's your background, because I want you to give it. And then also like that separation, like usually you're not one person, but you are.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that every person out there is probably very complex, and, you know, I have a lot of ambition, and that route is not a straight line. So you might see different parts of me often. But where I come from is just like, man, in terms of gaming, I started Super Mario Bros. 3 in my grandpa's Super Nintendo, or just Nintendo, the original Nintendo. And that was like the first video game I played. Then I got a Game Boy with like all the old Pokemon games. And then I remember my brother took me to get an Xbox 360 with him, and my mom would only let us pick one game. And I wanted to get Oblivion.
Oh,
and
nice. It
my
was a good
brother-
call. Good call.
I got shafted though, and my brother got Call of Duty MW2.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
well, I think we see how that turned.
Yeah,
everything.
the rest
But,
is history.
Yeah, so got MW2. My brother like started playing against his friends, and he was just not good, and I was good. And he would start like betting his friends that he would get XYZ amount of kills in a game, and then he'd hand me the controller. And so that eventually turned into competing in Call of Duty. I got really big into search and destroy tournaments. I literally like through high school,
regular search and destroy,
regular search and destroy, but through high school and college, it was just search and destroy tournaments every single night, playing for scraps, trying to get enough money to pay rent and eat. And then I got into Apex Legends when Apex first came out, like literally day 0.
Yeah.
And then from season 0, there was a budding competitive scene that started from a group of like basically just these grinders of people who would boost people's accounts and ranked. So like back then people would pay $500 to $1,000.
So you're still earning. You're still playing to earn, baby.
Oh, I was playing to earn all the way back then, but it was $500 to $1,000 to boost them to Predator. And so I would do that like 4 accounts a month. And that's how I paid through most of my college. And then it turned into competitive tournaments. And then from the competitive tournaments, I realized that there's just not enough money in esports to like actually sustain yourself long term. And so switched to content creation, and that was in traditional Web 2, and it was working really well for a while. And then I saw my friend Bryce, which you guys know as Bryson. He was streaming like coding one day, and he had like 3 viewers, and then the next day he had like 300, and I was like, what is going on? And I clicked, and he was playing this game called Axie. And then a couple weeks go by, and every time he turns on his stream, it's at like 4,000 viewers. And I'm like, dude, you got to show me what's going on. And then after he showed me that, that's how I got into Axie.
The rest was history.
People who don't know, Bryce and I played on the same Call of Duty competitive team in Advanced Warfare over a decade ago at this point.
Wow. That's awesome.
So Freak, we were playing game battles all the time. But yeah, so that's my history. And then now getting into Web3, I started with Axie. Axie went on the big decline after like 2021, 2022. And then Dead Drop came out. And I thought Dead Drop was going to be like my Valhalla. I was grinding I put many thousands of hours into that game.
You were thinking cold too. You got clicked by Tim the Tap Man, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I had a lot of really good memories there. And then that game sadly died, and for obvious reasons. And then after that, it's just been traveling a lot and trying every other game out, making content for them. And I think the competitive days are mostly behind me. I think I love the idea of competing, and I love the idea of competing with other people, but it's just, it would have to be a very sweet deal for me to like really go in and try hard in events now, like obviously show matches or whatever, but like in my life, I want to build something great, man. And then make enough money to be able to go back and put it into those things like esports that I love. So that's kind of where I'm at right
awesome, man. Like, so that's beautifully said. And I really want to go into where you think kind of the dynamic of play to earn. So in terms of play to earn, you said it also that like, hey, it might not be like the best and most fun games to play. Right. Do you think that there is something that play to earn does, like if you attach it to a game that is fun, or concept of that, or is it like maybe this is a arbitrage opportunity only because the reward pools and the incentive pools that were back in the day? Is this a time that like, hey, there's a really great opportunity for play to earn in the next maybe like 2 or 3 years, but after that it's pretty much evaporated? Or has been the things that you've been learning in play to earn can be applied to some of the games that you loved and grew up playing, and can make a difference?
I don't think that the best version of play to earn has been found yet. And I think,
do you have any ideas of like what it could possibly be using your experience? Because obviously you're very, like I said, a very unique individual that's been in the play to earn space for as long as you have, survived and been as successful as you have, but also being a, previously competitive player.
Yeah, I think right now, the experiences that we have aren't going to be anything that make you want to never leave your computer. And I don't know if that will be the case forever. I mean, you know, there's obviously things in my imagination, like some Ready Player One shit, to where like everyone's playing the type of game they love and are able to get their basic needs acquired from that. But obviously, you know, the world's not perfect and we're nowhere near that at this point. So I don't know that I don't know if I have a good answer to the question. I just think that the best is yet to come. I think that there is a lot of things that these developers need to take from each other's economies and try to the best fit. And I just think that, like, luckily it's not my job to make them successful. It's my job to farm them. So I mean, and I'm never like, we're never trying to do anything in like a destructive manner. We're just we're looking for the games where we can spend our time as a guild playing together and finding some way to earn out of it. And like, for me personally, I have different wishes out of play to earn than you might, or than somebody else might. So it's just like, it's a hard question to answer, because like my version of play to earn is like, if I'm putting time into a game, I'm seeing some value from that back and still having a ton of fun at the same time. And for me, that could be, I get cool skins that I get to trade with my friends. Like, I don't know. From what I come from, I just wanted to be able, like, when I joined this whole thing, all I wanted to do was be able to like buy, sell, and trade from other players. I just didn't want the middleman to be the developer anymore. And I
think that's like, you know, with the development of smart contracts and a lot of the little things, you kind of pointed to something that I think is a big issue currently in our space. And I don't blame them too, because I come from like working under these builders, is that, you know, these people that have like are building in the space need to kind of take things from each other, because everything is kind of getting learned, but it's all fragmented, right? And that's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to start the show, Kyroh, was like to kind of capture these lesson points from each. But like, are there like, you know, maybe good examples of things that have done right? Like maybe not the full package, like, hey, Fableborn did everything right, or, you know, Axie did everything right. Like, is there like elements that are like, oh, that's actually very interesting, I'm wanting to see that more maybe developed in that? Like a good example of this from kind of translating into game mechanics is like the fatigue system from like Breath of the Wild, right? Like in terms of the decay of equipment, it's like now that's kind of in everything for moving forward. Is there something in the play to earn space that you think has something that's actually brilliant, but incorporated into other games would be actually really cool?
Yeah, it's tough to think about. I think Axie is just still the best example for all of this, because they have just such a complex economy in so many different ways. Like with your own Axies, you're able to breed them to make more Axies. You're able to battle them to earn currency that way. You're able to use them as workers on your other assets that you own to generate resources and things that way. And just beyond that, there's just like a central asset that you enjoy the experiences around that. And that is like an interesting concept for like collectors and I don't know, the people that grew up on Neopets and Pokemon and Digimon and all of that stuff. And as for like specific mechanics and play to earn, I mean, it's so different based on like what you want out of it. Cause like it goes back to the same talk you had with Kevin with like the 3 archetypes of people that are here in the space. Like, who are you trying to appeal to with the answer to that question? Because like, if you're just trying to appeal to like straight earners, like there are assets in the Axie ecosystem right now that you could go and purchase that are 27% APR at the current token prices. And if they go up 2x, it's a whole lot more. And like all you have to do is maximize like your playtime for like, it's like 3 hours a day or something playing those, and you'll earn the max you can from each of those. And like, that's an interesting concept, because literally in some places that can become somebody's full-time job is playing that game for 3 hours. But then you go into something like Off the Grid where you're playing the game, you're getting a hex in the game, you're decoding it and not even knowing you're using the blockchain. And then you're earning those assets that you can then go and sell on OpenSea or trade with another player. And like that hopefully and should be implemented into everything. And if a game is good enough and blows up big enough, then those things that you're looking for to answer that question appear there. Because if a game blows up so much that everybody wants to trade this stuff, then everybody looks at the tech and thinks it's genius. So
I think that's like Paul Bettner said it very well too, to to put a ribbon on it was like, as soon as you show me a game is just as fun as like Web 2, but has Web 3 elements, and you put that in front of a gamer and you say which one you want,
all they have to do be proven that their time is. Everybody wants a kickback in something, man. You don't want to like. I don't want to spend 10,000 hours in Call of Duty and then Call of Duty or that specific Call of Duty dies, and then I don't have anything to show for that ever. And that's coming from someone who did it all for the love of the game. You could not have known someone that was doing it more for the love of the game than me playing game battles for 14 hours a day just because I wanted to be the fucking best. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know, bro. Everybody wants to try to earn from. Who wouldn't want to earn from the games they're playing is my point. Like,
and even like earning from a passive standpoint in some like, I guess, things that I've had like my thought process on this, Kyroh, and I like this because I can bout with you a little bit, is like even like that blue tiger skin from like, I always say this as my argument of like identity that kind of has some downfall effects of like people like me and you that like even for the love of the game have like actual perks that are outside of the game. So what I mean by that is that I had a Call of Duty blue tiger skin, you know, did all the headshots in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and like just had a ball doing it, right? I even got gold in terms of the MP5, but like I still love to the blue tiger MP5 skin. That's one that I repped. And so on that one, on that aspect, like that is no longer anywhere, right? Nowhere. I can't ever prove it in terms of a server, like in something that me and you know, in terms of Wolves, soulbound tokens are really important to me. But like, I can't even say like, hey, this is my soulbound token of like, I earned this in terms of my gamer tag, Killer Paradise. I had a blue tiger skin. And now in future Warzone games, can I get a discount or any type of other ones like maybe Splitgate or any Halo 3 that I could possibly get a discount based off of that achievement, right? And that's no longer available now. It's just in a server somewhere that's been shut down that if they spin it back up, maybe I can try to grab it. But like Microsoft achievements and all that stuff. And that's one of the things that I love as a beautiful thing as a blockchain. It's just a list of receipts, right? It sounds pretty, I guess, boring in a lot of capacities. But at the same time, you have a list of receipts from an identity point of view. You know, you talked about Smite 1 from Smite 2. Those skins didn't get carried over. From Warzone 1 to Warzone 2, it didn't even get carried over. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that our identity is just pretty much dying with these servers, especially for the love of the game, like the 10,000 hours that you did. It's just very hard to even, you know, think about. Like, there's just a lot of avenues that we just haven't even explored. And I just wish that, like, again, I think everybody that's here currently is in it for at least the love of like this specific industry and believes in it. I really just hope for like better, cool mechanics, things that, to your point, cross talk between founders, so we can find like really cool mechanics that like really are the tried and true things that, like, to your point, OTG, decoding, having NFTs that you can trade. That's a really cool thing that I hope all games like adopt. And
seamless integration of blockchain is exactly what will make a gamer play the game and not know that they're playing the game. I don't know. I think that we just need good economies, because when good economies are around, it opens up the ability for so many amazing things to start happening. Like, you could go back to the 2021 days of when some of these games were really popping off, and the type of UGC that you were seeing from people, like purely out of the passion for it was
crazy.
It was crazy. And I think that like it created jobs back then. I was a asset manager when I joined the space. That is why I joined the space. It was not for gaming. And like that type of opportunity came because of a good economy at the time. And like, we just need to see more of that, and you'll see more ways to play to earn. And I love playing to earn, bro. I never want to have to go back to other games. Aren't as fun for me anymore unless there is an active economy that I can participate in. And maybe that's me getting older, but it's also just like something that I'm really passionate about in this space is like, bro, there's so many opportunities. Like, I don't remember what meme coin kid said it, but he said there's like $1 million in your laptop. You just got to go find it. And like, bro, I actually really believe that. Like, there's so many ways to go out and make money now, and it can be through gaming. And like, this is one of the avenues to do that.
Question from the chat: what are your favorite P2E games right now? And I have another like deep question for you after this.
Yeah, guys, I think that like I'm just really like I do want to preface this whole segment with, I don't think everyone can do what we do. Like we have a very specific hold on on the Axie land economy because of our connections and goodwill and relationships that I've built over the years. That's allowed us to have a scenario where we can have 100+ people playing this game and earning good from it. So like I would say, to answer that question, it's easily Axie land for us and just the Axie ecosystem. But we're exploring everything. Obviously with the new vault fund that we're doing, it's a Ronin NFT only vault, and so we're basically sticking to that. But
OpenSea pretty much copied you guys, man. What's going on there?
It's just Oliver Maroney, this guy.
Oliver, bro, that dump truck, brother. You gotta watch out.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off topic.
No, you're good. You're good.
If I answered the question or not, but I just think
you said Axie land.
Axie land is what we stick to.
Yeah, Icy said, wow, Kyroh, the gatekeeper. He said, get good. I think that's something that's
good timing, man.
It's just being honest, right? And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand, just about like life in general. Sometimes it's timing. Some people say like,
it was 100% timing for us.
Yeah.
Too. We had good connections, good relationships, and enough goodwill built up that people trusted me to do what I said I was going to do. I did it, and then now for the last 2 years, they've been earning good off of doing nothing but just letting us do our thing. It's allowed us to be successful and then build out the ecosystem that benefits them even more. And so now we do the dirty work for a cut, and we like it, man. And like we're going to continue doing that. And
I like that.
It's just worked for us. So
I like that. Okay. One deep question, and then if you want to keep on staying with me, you can. But when people look back on Market the Zeal 5 years from now, do you want to be remembered as the guild that proved play to earn wasn't dead, or is there something else? Like you also kind of pointed at it a little bit earlier of saying like, hey man, you really love this stuff. Like if you could keep one thing, it is actually Market the Zeal. I want to kind of go into that.
I don't care if we prove play. That's not my job to prove that play to earn is dead.
It's to do the dirty work. I like what you said. That's the quote.
My job is to, dude. Have you seen Billions?
No, I haven't. But like one of my mentors loves it.
Watch the show. I'm Bobby freaking Axelrod, bro. Like I'm not, okay. So people won't understand what I'm saying, but no, like my job is not to prove the play to earn is not dead. Like it could die, but we could still be successful in that. What I want us remembered for is I want to create a great IP and brand that is in this space, that is crypto native, that like we have been here and in the trenches. We are a white glove asset management service at the core at the moment. We want to branch out into building tools to help games, and you just want to be known within the crypto gaming world as the #1 gaming guild that is out there. And that's what I'm going for. But I want to expand it on into like we want to build out our own IP and just make it more than what it is now. It has nothing to do with us proving anything. I do want to hopefully help Ronin find a path to success because I do care about that network doing good in the long term, just because of the people that have helped me get to where I am that are a part of that. And so, I think we just want to be the best gaming guild. We don't really care if we prove play to earn is dead or not.
Yeah. Love it. What do you think in terms of the next like few things that you're looking forward to? Like next like few months, what are you looking forward to?
So, I mean, we just raised like a lot of money from a very few select people that really believe in us and have believed in us for a long time. And we're going to open that up to the community as well. And basically, I just want to build out. I'm confident that I can manage like what we have done. We've done it very successfully, and to the point where I have tested and am confident that we can scale as big as the situation allows us to.
Yeah.
And with that, I just think that we can use capital in a way that a lot of others in the network can't. And I think that we can be a vehicle to a lot of these, or we can be a vehicle to crypto gaming exposure, and people don't have to do the hard work of learning about everything. Like we will take care of the research. We will take care of the asset management. All you have to do is give us the capital, and we will do what we can with it and make it work like we have. And so in terms of what we're looking forward to, we have our key mint that is coming up. That will be at the end of this month. And that is basically just public exposure to our new project. And then Beyond that, it's building that entire project out. It's already currently working. Like we have assets in that vault that are already currently earning money that will be put back into the whole project. So
Nice.
that, yeah, it's literally just that, man. Like the only things I
And
do every day
Pokemon,
is
like ripping
yeah,
Pokemon cards.
I wake up, I make some content, I go open some Pokemon cards, I eat food, walk my dogs, I work on my guild, I might tweet once a day, and then rinse and repeat. And like that's where we've been.
That's hilarious. Ramek is asking, like, do these kids get the
Yeah,
rev share or
so
whatever it is?
obviously being American, we can't promise any type of rev share. It's just not possible. But this is essentially our pre-sale. Like we're not doing an official token for our guild. What we're doing is we're going to do a token for the Vault project.
Cool.
And there won't be any forms of rev share there. No.
Cool. Good to know. But I'm excited for it, man. You have opened my eyes in a lot of ways, but yeah, I just wanted to get into that mind of yours, Kyroh.
I think, you've just been around, we've been around a lot of the same crew for a long time with the Wolves. And I think that like, crypto Twitter just ignores a lot of what is going on within the gaming space. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but it's hard to explain to people without showing what I still remember telling Tony about it back at one of the Shrapnel House things. And he understood after I explained it to him, but it's crazy. Like what I've been doing since 2021, like it's not lost on me that like it's crazy. My dad is a farmer, bro. Like he is a every day 6 a.m. or earlier, not coming home until 8 p.m. working on the farm. And I am the digital version of that. I am a digital farmer. And like that's what my life has turned into.
It reminded me of that one scene from like Step Brothers, which is just like he tells me that I'm just gonna inherit the family business, like, but you're a doctor.
Dude.
Oh my goodness.
The whole world is crazy to me, and trying to explain what I do to my family or my parents.
Oh, I know.
They
What is that one thing that you say to them that you're just like, I'm a digital farmer, or what do you say? What's that line?
Usually just tell them that I do like brand sponsorships for my content is like the main thing that I tell them about, because like they can understand that. But getting into anything of the crypto,
I know. I just tell them that I'm a marketing agency, and like they usually just leave me alone.
Honestly, much easier. But
yeah, I know. It's just kind of crazy. Like it's also in like Tulsa, just like who the frick does like anything marketing or anything like that in the tech industry.
Hey, you probably have crazy amount of Pokemon cards by you, by the way.
Okay, we'll talk offline, Kyroh. Okay, I can be your farmer. You put Pokemon. Kyroh pays me to pick up packs and ship it to him. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Did you have any other questions, Peyton?
No, one last question that I have is actually along the lines that you talked about with like crypto Twitter has like such blinders on. If you could like have a message to people, even inside of Wolves, right? Like I think Wolves, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to have this show, Kyroh, was to talk to all of the people that I've talked to in the last like 3 years. But a lot of them were having discussions like behind the scenes and not like talking like right now that we're doing. And this is just a normal conversation that we have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of these things that, like we made is like not really talked a lot about. It's like the play to earn, the Ronin ecosystem kind of sometimes feels shafted by like, the AVAX crew that like is like really just going into the more AAA games, I guess the more quote unquote sexy games.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is your message to like the people that are in maybe crypto Twitter and crypto Twitter gaming, like with these blinders on, like what do you have to say to them about like what you're currently doing, what Ronin's doing, what a lot of that, I guess, segment of people like what YGG is doing. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the whole thing
issue.
is like, I just think that like crypto Twitter is it's always been a bubble, and then like
Crypto Gorilla with the 50 gifted.
Let's fucking go! Let's go, Crypto Gorilla. Let's go.
He's gonna be a guest here soon,
nice.
And also doing upskill. Sorry,
no, you're good.
I've never had this happen to me, and I wanted to do it. Yeah.
I don't remember what the
I don't remember it either. It was mostly about like
what do we say to crypto Twitter people with the blinders on?
Yeah.
Dude, we all thought that like if off the grid did well, then everything would do well, and if it didn't do
Right.
well, then everything was going to explode. And the real truth was always somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for is play to earn and crypto games like Axie and the era from that. Are all of those dead? Are they still alive? The answer lies somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And I think that like the opportunity lies in like what you can get interested in, because when you find interest in something, you can figure out whether or not it's worth it to interact with those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might take you a little bit more effort versus what it's worth at the start, but eventually that could end up paying off. And that's literally just what happened with me with a lot of these games. Is it is a skill issue in some departments where you just have to put in the time to learn everything, and then you can eventually make money from it. And so I think that it's just like, be curious, bro. Click on everything. Like 15-year-old Verded is going football.fun and making 50 freaking racks.
Making more than I made in 2024.
Still doesn't know how to click the freaking sell button, because he's just like all of us other idiots that believe too long. Like, bro, just click on stuff, try things, and like don't take other people's opinions for it, because people have been saying these games have been dead for the past 2.5 years, but at the same time, those same games have been paying my rent check. So like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, you guys can keep ignoring it and I'll keep picking up the scraps, but like, it's just,
I think for you, you're just saying, keep ignoring it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, like I'm gonna be straight up, bro. It's the first time I've ever talked about this, but like the reason why I don't talk about my guild so much is because everyone ignores what my guild makes money on. So like, why would I bring attention to it? Like I don't know. It would take a lot.
I hear you. I won't air it, Kyroh.
Yeah, I'm just saying. In the live,
it's already aired, brother. Yeah.
Wait, before I go.
Yeah.
We gotta rip another pack.
We gotta rip another pack, brother. Crypto Gorilla with the 50 gifted. Let's get it, baby.
Yo, if I hit something good, somebody has to donate Peyton $100.
I'm just gonna celebrate like it is good, regardless.
I got bullshit. Yeah. Hey, yo, thank you for having me on. I know that literally, no matter how long we talk, I don't think I could ever really explain everything or get my points across. Just know that like what we're building is the proof is your hands, by the way. Oh yeah, sorry. The proof has been in the pudding for the past couple of years for us. We're just scaling what we've been doing forever. And I don't think play to earn's dead. People just ignore opportunity. So
let's go. Freaking Kyroh, you're the man. Thank you so much for your time. Whenever you go downstage, don't leave just yet. It's uploading, so I can have a clear image for you. But man, you're the man. Thank you so much for just your friendships over the last like 2.5 years now. Freaking crazy. It's actually probably 3 now. But I'll see you in Manila. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. All right. See you guys.
We're ripping some packs. I'll bring back some Tulsa. I'll get you some Tulsa packs, brother.
All right, bro.
See you guys. Yeah. But man, what a banger. Kyroh obviously is a great friend, but also just like very crazy, just the way that he thinks about things. And not even crazy. It's just very cool, unique. And that's the point of the show, is to really talk to people that are on these fringes, that are doing things that are against the stream. Like Crypto Gorilla is somebody that literally just freaking gave us $50, freaking man. But he's somebody that also sees NFTs differently and is like the #1 YouTuber on NFTs. That has been like a niche that has been struggling, just like gaming has. It's probably gaming's been struggling more, but NFTs have had a resurgence. And something that Kyroh said that I think is really, I guess, profound was just like, find something that like you're interested in, right? Those cases in which that, hey, really your edge on it is like being overly obsessed. And if you cannot enjoy it as deep as Kyroh does, like you can tell the passion that he has in his voice in running his guild, running the managing of like the things that he's like pretty much putting in like competitive gaming, and the amount of gaming that he has. He's like been 14 hours of gaming in his life in terms of, daily. And now he's kind of putting it down. It's like, hey, like I think that scene is behind me, and I want to build something especially beautiful. And so like that's something that I think I see in Kyroh, and I'm really excited to just see how he builds up. And I definitely need to get more information on what he's doing at the end of the month, because I need to be a part of it. Looking at just the schedule right now, we have Kyroh jumped the line a little bit, but I'm just going to put the overlay real quick on what we're going to be covering So we just talked to Kevin Lambert, as people know, CPO of Koin Games, gave a master speech in terms of like customer obsession and success and kind of how he looked at things. We just talked to Kyroh, manager of Mark of the Zeal. Sorry for not capitalizing that T, Kyroh. Apologies. But he really just gave a masterclass in what he's doing and in terms of play to earn and it not being dead and how he's been operating for the last like 2 years. And really, I think something that I want to talk to him maybe in like an episode 2 is really just how to foster those relationships, right? How did you get those whales to kind of come in and how did you get those trust and how he's kind of built that trust and that equity over the last 3 years that turned out to be, Kyroh managing so like what he said, like 2/3 of Axi's land plots, or maybe it's 1/3. I forget what it was. And then the next specific person that we're going to talk to is Dith, founder of Gigaverse, and he's amazing. And for people that don't know, he's not on the show because he's currently on parental leave. So really excited to just really rip the video presentation that I did with him. You'll see me in a different shirt and all that stuff, but he was fantastic. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. In terms of thank you, Sky. I know I was talking to Lems this morning. I was like, you know what, I actually need to run by and get some haircut because it was not very good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it though. I really am enjoying myself up here. So in terms of keep on doing this, a lot of the strategy behind this is to like do a lot of batch shooting in this is like, hey, want to have like 4 guests, 3 to 4 guests that are going to be talking about their subject matter expertise, and then go into a lot of the depths of what they're doing. And then from there, we kind of clip it out. We post this on X, we post this on LinkedIn to kind of get their names out and to really highlight them, because Wolves has a really great podium that we've built over the last like 3 or 4 years, similar to Kyroh's point. We've built up a lot of good equity for people that are getting jobs, people that are doing in the Web3 gaming space, projects that deserve to be shed light on. That's really our goal here. And so a lot of that comes down to how do we get that out? And AlphaWolves is a huge part of that because we have around 3 hours of shooting. We talk to people like Kyroh, like Koin Games, Kevin Lambert. We talk about Dith. We talk to Oliver. And we get to like really cut those down, like really just highlight them, post that on X, post that on LinkedIn, but also post them on like Instagram Reels, YouTube, and TikTok to really try to get more of exposure for them. So really at the end of this, like the core heart of this is not just to be a live show that we do every single week and produce and have a place to gather for a community, which is this place, which I love everybody being so active in it. But it's also to be able to share really the people that I care about most, which is the builders, the distributors, the innovators in this space, because I want this place to be good. So just kind of going through a lot of it. Kobe stream saying banger. Can't wait to see you, Kobe, in the Manila. Slayer by Kyroh. What a great episode. Yeah, I'm excited about this one, No Para. I'm ready to cut this one up and then post it on YouTube. So I didn't go through like the logistics of it. So in terms of the 3 hours of footage, guys, we're going to cut it down to each interview will be 30 minutes posted on this YouTube channel. And it will have its own thumbnail, have its own description, talking about it, because we didn't have, obviously this is a live show, so we don't know everything that's going to be talked about. We're going to talk about them. We'll cut it down to 30 minutes to 40 minutes, whatever it is. We'll post it on YouTube so you guys can 2x it, 3x it, whatever you guys want to on YouTube. 3x is freaking insane. It's probably only Slayer. And from there, we'll also cut into like these clips to post on X, LinkedIn, to kind of get people over to it. So we really definitely have a system. We're going to be building out that system, so be patient with us as we do it. And then, yeah, Slayer saying a lot of pro esports guys already were trained to think gaming with a different approach to regular gamers, for sure. They're one of the first people that actually, like, I guess, understood that there can be earning possibilities for it. And that's even Kyroh's talked about it. Like, he used to like boost people and get paid. So like in play to earn. Sky, obviously, yeah, I know, brother, on fleek. Yeah, Kyroh saying sorry, Oliver, for going over. I owe you, I think. No, Kyroh, Oliver is going to be a little bit later. So all good. I have to actually dance until Oliver gets here, which is a little bit later, and I have Diths as well. Yeah. Ramik says I owe you a drink, Kyroh. That's awesome. Rip it. They were talking about the packs. Dub, thank you. Great show, fam. Remind me, I need to put you into admin for Wolves. Thank you, Nopera. Yeah, definitely in my element. I honestly, I love just people and just kind of hearing their stories. In terms of this one, Ramek, we did the Dith interview is actually just going to be more of like his history, but we are going to do a part 2, which goes over the series and stuff like that after he comes back from his parental leave. Kyroh, episode 1, definitely, man. As soon as I had an episode 1, I was like, I need a curveball, and definitely his name is Kyroh. So you definitely delivered, brother. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for ripping packs. I will make sure to farm them for you. 3x hit points. That 3x is insane. But did you see, Paul, that there is a 3x and a 4x for YouTube now? For Block Games. I saw you comment a lot about that. Thank you so much for commenting. Slayer. Absolutely not, Slayer. You're insane. 0.5x to look at that haircut for longer. Shasan, you the man. But man, love you guys. I'm a 4x guy. Duh, that's crazy. Oh, you're a 4x guy as in gaming, or a 4x as you listen? Yeah, I'm with Dub, Civ, yeah, or Galactic. Yeah, absolutely. Off to a great start. Thank you, Osa. I really do appreciate it. And just also for you guys to know too, we'll cut it into the 30 minutes once, but I will also just want to give a huge shout out to Artemis for it. Actually, I want to give a big shout out to people that are going to be helping push the show. So for people that don't know, we have a whole team that's going to be helping with this, especially for the first month, because there's a lot of things that I'm just like not really used to yet. And we want to make this big and better, right? So want to give a big shout out to the team that's going to be helping. You know, I do a lot of the camera work, but sorry guys, I can't like think and talk at the same time. Usually Icy's the one that's yapping and I can do something. All right, so in terms of what we're gonna do here is just kind of give some credit where credit is due. First of all, is Lems. He's going to be helping a lot with the kind of just posting on all the social media channels. Really is somebody that is special to me, and he's been really great in terms of working with. Nopera is going to be helping. You see him in chat already with that little what is it, wrench symbol. He's going to be helping with like clipping and helping with that. So definitely give him a follow on it. He's somebody that is just I have a lot of confidence in him and what he's going to be coming to do in the next few years. So very excited about that. And then Big Zozo. Me and him obviously have a really great relationship and want to just support him and do that. So give him a follow. He's going to be helping cut things with Nopera and just really excited about it. Last but not least is Artemis. Artemis is somebody that is going to be posting all of the takes that we currently have are going to be done by Artemis. She's going to put it into a Substack. It has been a very dormant Substack for Wolves, and she's going to be the one that breathes life into it. And so she's amazing, amazing mom, amazing friend, and amazing wife. So excited to have her on the team as well. So that's kind of the AlphaWolves team. So if you guys want to support them, please do. And yeah, we have a lot of things that we are going to. Oh, sorry, a lot of things that we are doing to really make and express the show as far as we can. And so a lot of clips, a lot of things, and I'm super excited. If you haven't already watched Gamified After Hours, there is a hilarious thing with Koji. This one, it's so funny. I'll just actually react it with you guys because it's so funny. Let's react to it for a second. So this is Gamified After Hours. For people that don't know, these guys are kind of the core pillars of Gamified. So there's Sam, who's the host. This is a Backstreet Boy. His name's Sinjin. And then there's Jerry, singer, with his calves, as well as Koji, who is a stand-up comedian. But let's just watch this clip, and this is how good it's going to become. And Sam told me, too, he's like, this is not even the best one. And I was just like, there's no freaking way.
I got a bunch of awards for
wait,
you. First, the web.
Let's hear the audio.
I got a bunch.
1 second. I need to unpresent and present again. Stand by. Doing it live. Oh, you know what? It's because my audio is not going through. Oh, you guys had audio? Got it. Thank you, Crypto Gorilla. I share screen. All right. let's react to this, guys, real quick. Hilarious interaction. But yeah, this is Gamified After Hours. Sam, the host, the Backstreet Boy named Sinjin, Jerry, the Cavs singer, and then Koji, the stand-up comedian.
A bunch of awards for you. First, the Web3 Investor Award for person who is not able to read goes to Sam for not being able to read his own ad.
Talk about not being able to read, though. Koji's strong.
We have the Dub for MVP award for most out-of-character moment, and that's Kevin supporting white papers. Speaking of white
Lambert,
papers,
one that we just had
we
this
have
for, by the way.
Sam consuming gluten award for hard-to-swallow takes, and that's Jerry for not supporting white papers. What the fuck are you doing, Jerry? And then Jerry also wins the Larry David Award for characters who will slowly be their own undoing for just being contrary to my opinion. How dare you?
Pretty good.
I forgot to say at the end of the episode that I was still being positive this episode, but I was just positive that Jerry was wrong.
That's your workaround, you know?
I got one more award, and it's the Anakin Skywalker turns Darth Vader for becoming what you hate award, and I win that one because I'm defending fucking corporate Web3. Like, what happened to me, man? Yeah, Jerry, I'm with you in the like, let's be more punk rock, but like, I don't know. I've become too
you grew up, dude.
I've become too comfortable.
Anymore. Yeah,
I
you
just
wear
realized
fucking
the belt
khaki
on
pants
Jerry.
and polo shirts that don't fit you very well anymore, and you would probably have like a fucking joke T-shirt, you know, the fucking boner donor shirt that we were talking about a few weeks ago. Like that's what
Koji's just happy to get 1.5% on his savings account every year.
Yeah, dude. Web3 used to be about adventure, freedom, and fun. You know, Koji, you're probably pretty familiar with that.
Hilarious, bro. I cannot wait for more Gamified After Hours. Those guys like have just like generated and built a huge chemistry across them. Like I even like was very forward with Lems and Jerry, and we were playing like the game Climb for that, and I was just like, dude, like it's honestly feels a little intimidating. And this is like me with Sam in the beginning, like being a routine guest on Gamified. Those guys have built such a great chemistry over the last like 3 years now. It is by far like very intimidating for new people to be able to come. Like I would rather be a host and a guest host than be a person that's going to be in that mix, because they're just so funny. They know how to like mute each other, how to like banter back and forth. And it's just a special show. So definitely go follow Gamified and my boys there. Okay, looking at the schedule here. Excuse me, I'm gonna play and rip the video of what we have for Dith. And so hopefully you guys enjoy it. And I will be there on the other side and answer comments. Perfect. Today, I am joined by Dith, a go-to-market operator, a founder whose work is shaping how players enter. Oops, sorry, guys. 1 second. Let me get this going. I'll mute myself as well. All right. Perfect. Today, I am joined by Dith, a go-to-market operator, a founder whose work is shaping how players enter and engage in Web3 games. At Stripe, he cut his teeth on payments, learning the infrastructure, how money moves globally. That experience led him down the crypto rabbit hole, where he's been building Gigaverse and Good Luck Have Funners, experimenting with new mechanics like deflationary auctions and player-first onboarding flows. People call it simple, but it's definitely an honest day's work for him. And he's one of the sharpest voices on simplifying Web3 for players while still pushing boundaries in game design and community economics. Dith, welcome to the show. Welcome to the AlphaWolves. We're going to unlock the Gigaverse together today. Let's get into it, brother. How are you?
Yeah, thanks so much, Peyton, man. Great to be here and very excited for the new show.
Yeah.
And keen to get into, wherever you'd like to start, man.
We're going to start hopefully with the origin story for you, kind of just like maybe not your childhood origin story, but mostly like really your business specific aspect of things. And even whenever you were 16 running a competitive AVP2 clan as well. But you described yourself, and I wouldn't say you, but like I describe yourself as like a serial business builder. You've built businesses, you've joined Stripe, you've worked at different startups, you've like done things on the side with Good Luck Have Funners that turned into Gigaverse. And so like, I really just want to kind of get into the aspect of that origin story of what actually decided that you were a builder that, hey, this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life, or at least pursue a time of my life in terms of building?
I mean, it does in fact go back to my childhood, right? Like I was raised by, like, my mother is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
She has run her own businesses for the last 50 years. She's now retired. My father was a, what I'd say, a sort of like traditional management executive.
Yeah.
You know, he had been GM of several companies and been director, sat on boards, been in the C-suite of a few large companies. So just, I was kind of raised in an environment where, you know, mom was building businesses, dad was running businesses.
Yeah.
So I had very early exposure to that. And I really kind of, as a kid, got a first taste for like creating something and then having others place value on it and then selling it through, you know, I love drawing as a kid. So
yeah,
I would draw like pictures, and then whenever it was like a family dinner or we would have guests over, my parents would encourage me to basically like flog these pictures I'd drawn to like the guests that were coming over.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of like first got a sense of this flywheel of like, you create something, others find it valuable, the transaction happens, and then it allows you to like upgrade your stuff, right? You can get like a better set of gear. You're constantly like refining your skills there and so on. So I think it was just programmed into me from a very young age, and then I ended up running my first, you know, proper startup when I was still in university. I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And then I definitely caught the bug when it was sort of like, kind of a larger scale, and I could see how, what this felt like. It was a very distinct day when I was doing that first startup of mine, that I just knew. I knew from there, like, oh, I'm going to have to do this. This is the thing for me. I'm never going to be able to go and just like, work traditional jobs, so to speak.
I would love to get into that. But I do also want to kind of go back and rewind a little bit. And first of all, just like condolences to you. I know that recently you put on your timeline that you've lost your father, in which you're very close with. And something that I want to kind of maybe open the space for you is like, what is that one thing that you took from your father that kind of like really changed the trajectory of your life? Obviously with constant love and everything like that is very powerful. And it seems like you very admired it. Was there something that really you admired more than others, or a certain trait that we want to capture here?
Yeah, it's been very hard because, I was raised as an only child. So as a unit, it was always just the three of us.
Yeah.
I think if it were, there's many things to say there. And I think if you ask me like at different times on different days, it's kind of a different answer, right? Just depending, what's sort of top of mind.
You're taking parts of him and applying it to your day. And so that's why the questions kind of vary based on it. But
I think more than anything,
day?
More than anything, like broad brush over the fullness of time. More than anything, it's just hard work.
Yeah.
My dad was. It's kind of funny that like he, like reflecting in his later years, was telling me like, oh, I think I worked too hard.
Perfect. Today.
I think if it were, I mean, there's many things like what I wanted to do career-wise.
Right.
You know, when I was a teenager, 15, 16, 17, 18, the things I was most passionate about were the AVP2 clan. Like we were making it too hard. But then on the other hand, I was like, well, maybe that's how you feel, but I grew up in an environment where I could see that like you must feel entitled.
Right.
You can't be like looking for like tons of shortcuts. You
Right.
can work smart, but like there's no way getting around doing the hard work if you want to be the best at something. If you want to build something like meaningful, and that's the sacrifice you have to be willing to make. But it was also useful for me hearing that from him. You know, the question of like, well, is it possible that I worked too hard?
Yeah.
And he wished he had given me more time. And I was like, I had plenty of your time. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, like the difference in perspective there. So I try to be mindful of that. Like, I am definitely programmed to like work hard to put in the hours, but I do try to make sure that I have like solid quality time with my family.
Yeah. Well, I love that, Dith. And again, sorry for your loss. And I know it's been hard. We've talked recently after your father's passing, and it was just really cool to see. And his legacy lives on with you, and that hard work lives on with you too. And it's really cool to see how much you admired him. I admire my father as well too. So, but okay, you said something about a distinct day that kind of triggered you from being, okay, I can't work a 9 to 5 anymore. This was in university. What was that business that you were starting, and what was that feeling, I guess, or that innate feeling that you had inside of you that distinct day said, I'm no longer going to a 9 to 5, or at least I'm not going to be this norm?
Yeah. So this story takes a few minutes, but it
we have a few minutes, so we're good.
Yeah. There's some context there. So still in university, I was studying medicine actually. And it was kind of because like at the time I didn't have super strong conviction on like what I wanted to do career-wise.
Right.
You know, when I was a teenager, 15, 16, 17, 18, the things I was most passionate about were the AVP2 clan. Like we were, like, you know, a bunch of us guys just trying to be the best, and we're like super sweaty, cussing people out, playing these matches, and you kind of enjoying the toxicity of like PvP games.
Right.
The other thing that I was super passionate about was playing in bands. And I was in like some pretty good bands. You know, we did some gigs where we would have a crowd of like 2,000-3,000 people.
Wow, that's awesome.
I
I didn't know that.
It feels insane. Like you're like 16 or 17 and 3,000 people like fill like an auditorium. Right. And make a lot of fucking noise. And, you know, you're getting like, honestly, one of these gigs we had, I mean, my close buddy, he was like, you know, we were in the band together. And so we still reflect on these times, but that particular gig was nuts. Like we had all kinds of like panties thrown on the stage at us. Like it was just nuts. Anyway, so as a teenager, I was like, either like I'm going to do gaming or I'm going to, you know, the band is going to make it. Yeah. But, you know, and then like, you know, neither of those things really materialized. You know, I was not good enough as a gamer to be a, you know, professional esports player. The band was actually pretty good, but everyone just went off to university. So the band fell apart. Anyway, so I was in university, I was studying medicine. You know, it was kind of like the on paper smart choice. Like, you know, doctors are like paid well, aren't they? That's like a respectable sort of, so it just seemed like sort of a choice. Anyway, I was pretty bored midway through university. So I, you know, over the course of one summer, I started cooking up ideas of like, hey, you know, why don't we have X, Y, or Z? Or like, why is this like problem not being solved? And one of those was just around, you know, in these days, this was like 15 years ago, people were still gaming in network gaming cafes. Did you ever go to one of those?
Yes. They're very popular in the Philippines. So whenever we go to like YGG and all that stuff, like we still do. And it's like one of the most like fun feelings for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the LAN gaming experience is like super fun. Maybe days that I've spent like the whole day at like a LAN center. You won't even realize, and you've just been like playing Battlefield and CS and all this stuff. So I had ideas around that, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I grew up here in the Middle East, and I was like, well, we have some like up and coming cities. Everyone knows Dubai, right?
Right.
But there's other cities now in the Middle East which have super high potential, receiving a lot of investment. Riyadh is like very exciting. But anyway, at the time I was like, okay, Dubai is very much up and coming. We have the world's biggest, we have the world's best, we have the world's fastest, we have the world's most expensive. Why are all the network gaming centers trash? Why can't I find like good computer hardware here?
Yeah.
So my idea as like a 20-year-old was simply like, well, I'm just going to bring like the best gear. I'm going to like import it to the country and sell it.
Cool.
And I think fundamentally it wasn't a bad idea. The problem was just that I had no experience whatsoever.
Right.
Didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I wanted to give it a shot. And so, you know, because I thought this is what you do. You like write a business plan and you like put stuff on paper and projections, like kind of all this sweaty stuff that you do as like a mid-curving noob. Right. And so I did all that. And then I hopped on a plane because I was studying in the UK at the time. And I came back out to the Middle East and I was like, I booked some meetings. And you know Acer, the company that makes
I know
PCs,
Acer. Yeah.
So I had a meeting with this company, Acer, and at the time they made I think they still have this series, but they had like a gaming PC tower called the Predator.
Yes, they still do have it. I have a Predator laptop. Yeah.
Oh, sick. So I remember this motherfucker's name. I won't share it here, but he's still out there, man. So it was the first meeting that I had that day. And just like a very good friend of mine, like hooked me up this meeting with Acer's marketing manager.
Yeah.
And I basically want to go meet Acer and be like, yo, can you give me like, I want like 20 or 30 Predators. You're going to like sponsor this like massive network gaming thing that I'm building. I didn't know if at the time it was going to be like a center or it was going to be like a competition or what. I had like a few different versions of the pitch. Anyway, so I met this guy, the marketing manager at Acer, and he heard my shitty pitch for like a minute or two. And then he was like, all right, let me show you how I see it. And he took out like a piece of paper and he drew like a big circle on one side. And he's like, you see this? I'm like, yeah. Like, this is what you're talking about. And then next to it, he drew a tiny dot. And he's like, and you see this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and that's you. So the question is, how do you get from there to here? Yeah. And because I had just come off like a night flight, I was a complete fucking noob that had never really even been in business meetings. I didn't understand actually that this guy was like, this was a fucking dick slap to the face, right? Basically saying, see through you, you're some, you know, you're a kid who's got nothing and you're like literally asking me for free shit. So it's funny, like I always remember that because it was like, I came off this, I took a night flight because it was cheapest. I was wearing some cheap shit suit. I, went home and like showered and put my cheap ass suit on and went to this meeting and just got absolutely fucking wrecked. And it was over the course of that day that I had like 4 other meetings. Oh man, like it was one of those days which like you're ready to like just give up on yourself, like by the end. So it was just like almost over at that point. And I was like ready to be like, oh, maybe I am just a dumb kid. Yeah.
If I can add in here, how did you push that out? Because like I have
to finish the story.
Okay. Go for it.
It's just so hard because it was at the end of the day that, man, it's very hard because I spoke to my dad, like, it's like certain things, like certain things that like your dad says that like just hit so fucking different.
Yeah.
Anyway, he we had that call and he was just like, I told him like, look, it's been shit. Like all these meetings have been a waste of time. It's not really working. He's like, look, there's one more guy that you should meet. He's someone that I know, like kind of likes computers. He's like the son of someone I've done business with before. Go meet this guy.
Yeah.
This was like 5 or 6 p.m. that day. And anyway, so I went and met this guy, and by complete fucking coincidence, he was like, hey, look, I'm actually going, I've got a meeting as I say, it was like right at the end of the day. It was like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got a meeting. It's my last meeting of the day. I'm going to meet the largest like electronics retailer in the region. And he's like, do you want to come along? And I just met this guy. So, oh yeah, sure. I've got nothing to lose. I'm like I'm like sweated through my suit right now. Everyone's told me that no.
Yeah.
But like throughout the day, I was like practicing this pitch.
Right.
Anyway, so we get to this meeting. He had some business there. I don't know what would be the, like in the US, it's like Best Buy, right?
Yeah.
The largest electronics retailer.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Circuit City's out of business now. So Best Buy is definitely it.
Right. So I was basically like in the region's equivalent of Best Buy in their like boardroom with their C-suite.
Wow.
You know, as like as a 20-year-old kid, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. It wasn't my meeting. I was just tagging along and I just listened. But anyway, at the end they were like, "Oh, and who are you?" They saw me like in the corner, like, "Who are you? Why are you here? What do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm like, I'm starting this like gaming business."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, what is it? What is it?" And I was like, "All right, well, fucking, I'll pitch it then." I flip over my laptop, connect it to the projector and shit, and I pitch it for 2 minutes. And then when I'm done, I'm just like expecting them to ask the usual shit, like, "Who the fuck are you? Have you done this before? What's your funding?" and the rest. But instead they go, "It's interesting. When can you start?"
Wow.
So, yeah, man, that was the day. That was the day.
What a great day. And I'm happy that we spent those few minutes to go through it. There's a lot to unpack there. And I want to unpack it. Like one of them is like, I'll share with you because you were very vulnerable with me. Like, and it wasn't so much like wasn't as like probably as a big vertical, but it had the same impact that I felt whenever you were talking about your father. And then some days, some things, they just say things. And one of them was that I got cut from like my baseball team at high school, and I was a returnee. So like, it was like a really big shock across like the whole thing of like people cutting me. And I played baseball since I was 4. My dad coached me a majority of my life in that aspect of things. I'm very close to my dad. And there was such a very like profound impact in that moment. I hold it for the rest of my life. And you probably hold that specific day for the rest of your life. There was a part of the day that I got cut and I felt terrible. It's embarrassing. I'm a returnee. People that are younger than me are getting on the team. And I start bawling. My dad like comes in, and it's like, it's a private practice. So he was there, he was present. So there's one thing is there's presence that happens in the moment. And so he runs down, and the umpire and some other people are saying, "Hey, you can't come on the field. Like, it's whatever." And he said, "Get the fuck out of my way." And I heard that. I overheard it. I don't think he meant it, but there's something about like that feeling that like, I don't give a crap what you are, who you are. I'm going to go and see my son. And he embraced me and he said, "They don't know how fucking great you are," And usually whenever I'm in that specific moment in my life, whenever something happens, I carry that from my dad of like, the token going down. I actually called you about that as well. And a whole bunch of other things that, you need some people that are like you to me, which are like advisors and all that stuff, but there's also an emotional specific feeling that you need as well. Right. And I always carry that with my dad. I always can call him and all that stuff, like, I'm not feeling good. My wife now is that kind of person for me as well. But like, I always have that in my specific utility belt. It's like, you don't know how fucking great you are. Right. Because there's a lot of that aspect of things. So I just wanted to share that with you because I started getting the same range of emotions whenever you were kind of talking about your dad on that distinct day. So anyways.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Like, there's even, the strongest people and the most successful people have experienced those moments where it's a loss. The other thing is, like, I think generally the more intelligent someone is, the more prone to like self-doubt or imposter syndrome or any of these things. it's this like paradox. Like
Right.
the more, or maybe it's not. Like just simply the more intelligent that you are, the more self-aware you are.
Yeah.
And so the more that you are thinking about like, yeah, well, actually, I didn't do X, Y, and Z right. Maybe
Right.
I do fucking suck.
Right.
But yeah, it's such a beautiful and powerful thing in the moments where you have self-doubt,
Yeah.
but someone else turns up with that belief in you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's what great dads do.
Yeah. It's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that moment with me, Dith. All right. So let's move on a little bit into kind of the progression, the next step. So you started kind of like this serial entrepreneurship, like you got that bug, right? And you just ended up kind of going from place to place, and then you landed at Stripe. And you had a really good post that like Stripe kind of gives you like a mini MBA in terms of like processing payments. And that got you kind of, funny thing, into crypto. What was it at your time at Stripe and maybe even through that onboarding process that you were like, dang, this is awesome. I want to kind of get to Gigaverse. So that's kind of also why I'm trying to edge us in this specific direction.
Yeah. Well, what Stripe does is it's just an incredible company.
Yeah.
But I joined them during COVID, and they were always a very documentation heavy company, right? So culturally, it's not this like, hey, I'll hop on a call with someone to like understand a thing.
Yeah.
Everyone documents everything. So if anyone ever learned anything or figured out a process, they documented it internally. So like the Stripe internal wiki, it's like insane.
Wow.
Very, very rich.
Very cool.
There's this other like really crazy, really cool sort of like quirky feature, which is any email anyone was sending, you would like blind copy like your team, like a team's shared inbox. So like on my go-to-market team, if I was ever sending an email to a partner, to like a fund or a startup or whoever, you would blind copy this shared internal inbox. And it meant that over time, I'd be able to go and like dig up an email that someone on my team like from 7 years ago sent to a partner. And so the level of like just information and context that you have at Stripe is truly unparalleled. And by design, it's a very sort of open and trusting and transparent company, which allows people to have context and move very, very quickly.
Right.
So they have insane internal documentation. And when you join, because it was COVID, it was all this sort of like remote learning, like, hey, we're going to, we have this internal learning hub and here are all these materials and videos and there's like little quizzes and all this stuff about payments.
Yeah.
Honestly, it happened very quickly. It was literally, I think within my second or third week where they're like, all right, here's how, when a customer pays for a cup of coffee with a credit card, here's like the sequence of things that happen to move the funds from the customer's account and land in the business's account.
Wow.
And they're like, break down this sort of like stuff and like and explain it like on 5 manner. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And it just dawned on me like very quickly right there and then that like, hey, wait a minute, this is very bloated. There's a lot of middlemen. There's a lot of people taking fees here and there.
Right.
A lot of these systems are very outdated and archaic, and they're incompatible with one another.
Yeah.
Businesses like Stripe obfuscate all of that from us as the end consumers because Stripe's product is incredible.
Right.
They built it in such a way that they connect all this piping without us ever having to see or understand how that's actually happening.
Right.
But the reality of the TradFi payment system is that it's very old and very bloated, and there's too many people in that chain. And so it was at that point that I was like, hey, so what about this crypto thing?
Yeah.
But it was literally from like a tech purist perspective that I was like, couldn't crypto do this better? Right. And I started speaking to a couple of people who, at this point were like fully pilled. And I was like, hey, so, I'm at this payments company now, and it seems kind of like this is how it works. Couldn't crypto, isn't it simpler with crypto? Yeah. And they're like, yes, this is what we've been saying all along. No one's fucking listening to us. It's like 2020. So it was at that point that I was like, okay, let me start paying attention.
Yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention to crypto before that point, but that's when, to say, ironically, Stripe pulled me on crypto.
That's awesome. It's so cool when it comes down to it, especially coming from a technical way, because I think a lot of people get bogged down by the narratives, really moving their emotions to kind of an opinion on a technology, right? You know, even drop shipping sometimes has like a terrible, like MLMs, like have like this specific scam way type of things. And there's that specific brand, and crypto's kind of gotten this specific brand of like being like very scammy, but like from a technology purist payment processing type of way, it's actually a beautiful technology in terms of like ledger and kind of giving the ability to be able to do exactly what you said, making things a lot more simpler, a lot more transparent, and all that stuff too. And so that kind of led you from Stripe now kind of exploring the realm of crypto. And the two things that I want to kind of talk about is, one is like your specific onboarding into proof of play, and then moving into like Gigaverse and Good Luck Have Funners. But would love to kind of get to how'd you get from Stripe into the specific world of crypto, into signing on for proof of play for the first time.
Yeah, so when I was at Stripe, I was leading a go-to-market team, and one of our most important channels that I built from scratch for the EMEA office was working with VC and PE funds, right?
Yeah.
So spent a lot of time working with investors, and what was kind of interesting at
Perfect. Today, I am joined by Dith, a go-to-market operator, a founder.
Investors, and what was kind of interesting at this time, 2020, 2021, when we had this sort of like NFT run, where remember like VCs were like everyone was into crypto. Everyone, suddenly every fund was like deploying into crypto, and you had all kinds of people, heads of funds, that were like rocking like Bored Ape PFPs or one thing or another. And there was a community that was very like tech adjacent, which a lot of VCs sort of congregated around, which was chain runners.
Yeah, cool.
So I found myself in the chain runners community, flipping NFTs. Nice. And most of the people there, because it was very tech adjacent, were like tinkerers, right? They were like building stuff and launching their own projects. So a bunch of us degens hanging out in that channel, the sort of internal holders channel, a lot of people just ended up launching their own projects.
Yeah.
And some of them were like very sort of, experimental, flippant, like, oh, it's like low effort, create something in a couple of weeks. And others were like bigger, grander, and, more serious. Mm-hmm. So I had exposure to like a few, friends that were launching projects. I cut my teeth a little bit on a few mints that way.
Yeah. Nice.
From a launch perspective. And one of them that I helped was a collection called Leet Skulls.
Okay.
Super cool, like pixel art. It was ultimately a chain runners derivative collection, using some of their traits, but like a very opinionated take on it. And when I got involved there, it was just before mint. It was like a week or two before mint, and they said, look, could like great art. These PFPs are going to be fully on chain, but we need to get some attention on us. And we don't have budget. We don't have KOLs. How can we do that? Right. So I came up with a mint strategy that was it was new and different, and I knew it would get attention, and it did. The week that we launched, I think it was like December. It was just December, like just after the FTX crash. So what was that? December 22. Mm-hmm. So we launched with this like mint strategy that I came up with, and went really well. We were the top trending like NFT collection, volume wise, like that week or those 2 weeks. And I just published some tweets about like my thinking there and how we actually executed it. And off the back of sharing that story, that was when Adam at Proof of Play
Amazing.
saw my tweets and reached out. And it's funny because, you know, at the time I was still working full time at Stripe.
Yeah.
I was just about to be promoted. It was a really good job. I did
Yeah.
I was very curious to like, find, hey, is there a team that I feel strongly enough to like,
Right. Make the leap.
move into crypto,
Yeah.
make the move into crypto full time. But frankly, I didn't like the look of the game.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not really my kind of game. What is
Yeah.
this? Polygon? Oh man, like honestly, I was very turned off. So, but credit to Adam. Adam's super strong at BD and he's very good with people. So
I love his background too. Not the typical background that you think, you know.
Yeah, and he's a great friend. So, you know, through that just back and forth over DMs, eventually like he convinces me like, let's get on a call, and hey, actually we need to like NDA you. I'm like, what the fuck is NDA? and because at the time they'd raised a bunch of money and it hadn't been announced yet, and he just kind of wanted to like show me the cool stuff, right? And then I met Amit, and I met Matt Vaughn, and met William, and met the other guys, and I was like, all right, my childhood dream was to build a game.
Yeah.
This is a company full of like, I don't know if it's still the case, but when I was there, about half of the people at the company were former founders.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, like there's a lot of people here like me who've like chosen to build their own companies in the past. Now are coming together fucking Captain Planet style to do this thing together. And it's crazy ambitious, right? Fully on-chain gaming. Moonshot, if we're right, it could be right big. So it took some really interesting boxes in that respect. And
very cool.
As I say, it was very bottom vibes, because this was a few months after the FTX crash.
Right.
But you know, in hindsight, it was a great decision.
Perfect. Today I am joined by Dith.
And then you know, I learned a lot working on Pirate Nation with the guys.
Exactly. And I think that's something that even as Wolves, like we ended up kind of looking at the space and monitoring a lot of specific ones. And there's just a lot of lessons to be had, especially whenever you're such at a cutting edge technology, innovations happening a lot. A lot of people are trying different things. And you know, it's very cool to see what Pirate Nation has done and Proof of Play for the last, like, you know, they've been almost now in the space for like 4 years, probably longer with Amit. And it's just like, it's really cool to see their development, and then also see your specific development moving into Good Luck Have Funners, as well as the Gigaverse. And so that's where I want to kind of end this specific story, which is like, you know, you kind of got into Gigaverse. What was that transition like? First of all, for people that haven't heard of it, which probably a lot of people in the audience has, but kind of talk about Gigaverse in a lot of capacities, and then let's get into kind of where you're at now.
Yeah. Well, really, the way that we got to Gigaverse was via the Good Luck Have Funners, which I launched in January last year. And you know, I was working at Proof of Play full time, but the way that collection ended up getting built was, I was looking for a PFP for myself, couldn't find one.
Right. And
ended up with Now, who is our like lead artist, lead designer of Gigaverse, an artist named Bunyo. Bunyo made my PFP, and then I started rocking this PFP in a private Discord server, and my friends were like, "What's that? We want that." And I was like, "All right, well, let's make a collection." But there was no real sort of like grander plan to it. Right. Certainly wasn't thinking, you know, this would be a company someday. It was literally just have fun, creative outlet, launch the collection, say that there really was no roadmap. In the back of my mind, though, I was like, well, I mean, if I am launching this thing, I may as well treat it as a sandbox to like try other stuff, right? So I did the programmatic whitelisting.
That's where we met. That's where we met. I don't know if you remember, but I DM'd you after this because I have dealt with like marketing a lot of capacities, and I said, "Can I marry you?" I mean, just for
Yeah, I
the fact
remember
that like
message.
that core memory for me. But
And
yeah,
it was
please
funny,
tell me
and
about it. Yeah.
it was also a message to get from you as well, because at that point, you know, like I knew you and I knew many other folks in the space because I'd been following on the timeline, but I was still relatively many people that hadn't, you know, they didn't know me yet, right?
Right.
So I remember receiving that message. It was awesome to receive, and so I in the back of my mind, I was like, oh well, good luck, have funners could be like, it could be more than just this, you know, these pixel PFPs.
Right.
Maybe I use it as a sandbox to like experiment or like launch these like interesting ideas that haven't been done before. And then of course, like after the mint, when, you know, really what had happened at the time of mint was like I just involved like a group of really smart builders who were like, hey man, can you help me with like the mint site, and can you help me with the this and the that? And so suddenly we had like 6, 7, 8 people involved who were each just really as friends kind of chipping in.
Yeah.
And so very organically after the mint kind of formed a little consortium of builders who just had ideas.
Cool. Yeah.
And eventually one of those ideas ended up becoming Gigaverse. You know, we tried other sort of mini games embedded within Discord. We ran into challenges there, like, oh, it's clunky. If you want good on-chain experience, it probably just has to be like, you know, we have to let people connect directly in browser. Okay, so maybe it has to be, you know, let's put the game there, let's take it out of Discord. And so eventually, you know, Gigaverse was kind of one of those sandbox ideas. When we launched it, we didn't know how big it was, how well it was going to be received, or how big it could get.
Yeah.
So it was like ultimately very, very organic. When we launched Gigaverse, I was still working full time at Proof of Play.
Right.
It was only sort of like 2-3 weeks after the launch that we could see the traction, that I was like,
yeah. I felt it too. The traction was going nuts in terms of that aspect of things. And I was like, just even looking at, he was like, how can Dith do both of these things? I'm just like, this is freaking nuts. This is crazy. Because you were also like a very, like what a lot of people don't know, and I want to capture this for historical purposes, is that you were one of the biggest names too, from a vocal standpoint, about Proof of Play and being a champion for them. And you have brought a lot of people to Proof of Play and Pirate Nation because of that, like brand ambassador role that we're kind of seeing be more popularized. Like there was Coop, there was you, there's a whole bunch of other people like Finn and ICO Beast now, and a whole bunch of other ones. But there's a lot of benefit to it. And so I was just like, man, Dith's doing so much. Like, how is he balancing it, you know?
Yeah, and it was tough, right? Like there was a period where I was doing a lot. I think the only way that I can make it work is because, you know, going back to the historical context and the stuff I was saying about hard work, like I do genuinely find fun in building. So I think others have, you know, maybe other people have places they need to spend their time,
right?
That I simply don't. It sounds somewhat sad, but I don't do some of the stuff like my friends do. I don't go out to the pubs and the clubs and you know, play soccer like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
I don't do that. I have like a gym at home. I like spending time on the internet. I like spending time with other founders and building. I like writing. So, but even then, like it is, and it was tough. It was definitely kind of a like, how am I going to like do all of this justice? And ultimately, like, you know, Gigaverse was something that from the outset, we built this thing where, from a product perspective, I had a lot more direct input. Let's say, let's put it that way, right? On Gigaverse versus Pirate Nation. Pirate Nation had it was
very developed in terms of IP, game loops.
Yeah, it was
pretty much a clean slate for you.
Exactly. Pirate Nation was like live by the time I got there.
Right.
Still early, but I mean, you know, the core, you know, the bones had been set, and the brand, the IP, and the rest. But Gigaverse felt a lot more like my baby. You know, well, my co-founder and I, and a small group of us that kicked it all off. So yeah, I mean, in the end, it was somewhat of an obvious call that like, hey, we're seeing a lot of potential here, and I can't ignore that. We need to see how big we can take this. Yeah.
Well, Dith, I'm going to say this is the origin story of Gigaverse, and the next episode that I do with you, if you come back, is going to be about solely Gigaverse and kind of the grand scheme of things, and hopefully time it. But I had a very much a pleasure. Not only do I respect you as like a founder in the space, as a distributor in the space, and what you contribute to the ecosystem, and like really a lot of hope in a lot of capacities, but as a man, as somebody that I look up to, thank you for being on this show. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And I appreciate you sharing your story here today. But I definitely am addicted, and I need to get part 2 here soon.
I appreciate you, brother. Super kind words, and it goes both ways, man. Only when there's that level of trust and mutual admiration do the real stories come out.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Well, I can't wait for part 2, and I hopefully a lot of people in the comment section as well too. So I can't wait to rip this one. This one's going to be a good one, but definitely running long for people as well too. So we'll get a part 2 on the books after your celebratory event. Yo, I put that solo leveling clip in there. That's hilarious. All right, 1 second, guys. I am struggling right now with the I don't know if it's the connection or my camera or something. It is just big struggles right now. But it's the longest I've like ever streamed on StreamYard. So I don't know if the case is StreamYard or something else or any of that. So we'll figure it out. We had a, like Slayer said, it's stuff. I'm doing all the VPN stuff. I did all the best practices. You never know. You never know until you're in the arena. Solid story. Yeah, Kobe. I think one of the things that got me emotional during it was like whenever he started like talking about like his dad and stuff. Like that hit me to the feels. Yeah, I might just not use VPN, Terrace, but yeah, there's like, I know that there's like some things with like people limiting bandwidth or limiting up if like you're streaming, and so that's why they limit you. But we'll see if I like kind of go out and that stuff. Well, we'll see. Hopefully I can dance long enough that Oliver gets here, so at least he can keep the fort down for it. But next person is going to be like Oliver, who's like a dear friend. Yeah, I'm currently Terrace, just so you know. I'm just using StreamYard. And I'm streaming to YouTube and X, but I don't know if it's like anything that's going on right now, because it's like my whole thing is like, I don't know, my whole like setup is like going black and then coming back up. So I don't know what it is in terms of that. I'll look at it. Best practices next time is to like restart and reset my computer by like, restarting and stuff like that. Yeah, Petey, they can suck it up every ounce. Suck it up every ounce of bandwidth. StreamYard's trying so hard to buy more internet on eBay. Losing the bids, brother. Blake, what's up, brother? Paytonian, you just missed Dith's one. But yeah, very, very cool. When using multi-stream tools, true multi-stream. Yeah, I have a 5070, dude. So I don't know what to tell you. We'll see. But yeah, man, hopefully everyone's doing well. We're just waiting for Oliver to kind of come in and then go from there. But as everyone knows, also super big thank you to Taylor, as well as Crypto Gorilla with $50, the 50 gifted, as well as Taylor, who also is trying to compete with Gorilla of being number 1 and number 2. So Taylor, thank you so much for your recent contribution. You are the man. Thank you so much on that. Yeah, Drew, AlphaWolves. Yeah, win beamable, brother. Yeah, definitely watch Dith's one. We'll cut it up to for you, Blake. So it'll be all good to go. Yeah, I don't know. Like honestly, PD, the reason why I want to use StreamYard is because it's easy for people to get on, right? I didn't want to also like have a high production team for this. It's just me. And so having people kind of come in from like Discord, I guess I could do that. I could do like a I'll be back soon and then jump over to Discord and bring them up. That might be like what I do, and like head up all the streaming stuff. It will make it easier for overlays. But yeah, StreamYard was just like very easy for me to be able to do. But again, I don't know if it's StreamYard. I think it might be, honestly, I think it might be like my rig. I don't, maybe I didn't reset it or anything. I'm looking at Task Manager as I kind of go up, but so it's not what I meant. I have a 5070 president is what I'm translating. I'm just saying it's not the graphics card. That's all I'm saying. And Yo, you came in for the best person though. The dump truck Maroney just arrived. Actually, I heard it because the StreamYard was doing the backup sounds like beep, beep. So really excited about this, guys. But we are gonna end off on a high note. Oliver, I've been having some technical issues, brother, as par for the course of your first stream, as you know. But dude, how are you, man? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's been a busy day.
It's been a busy day. We'll get you 30 minutes in and 30 minutes out, and then you could just go and do things. Actually, this is me trying to capture you. So we're just gonna actually play Warzone for the next 30 minutes. You ready?
All right. I'm in. I'm in. Sign me up. Where do I sign up? Where do I get my controller?
I gotta, that's one thing I do for Sam sometimes. I just book a meeting and then I just like delete it. And he's like, wait, I got white space on my calendar. Just like, what a friend. What a gem. But dude, speaking of gems, I'm gonna do your intro. Actually, I'll do your intro first, and then I will then go off the riff, as they say. But Oliver Roney is a sports media veteran turned Web3 partnership leader for OpenSea. He started out covering basketball for outlets like Dime and Basketball Insiders, launched the Positionless podcast, where he interviewed Mark Cuban, which was really cool, then joined Ice Cube's Big 3 League as one of its first media strategists. He joined Cameo, and he ran talent relations in sports and esports, and later he led Cameo's entry into NFTs through Cameo Pass, where he probably got noticed by OpenSea. And today he's the head of business development and partnerships at OpenSea, but he doesn't forget where he came from, which is where he focused on gaming as a natural on-ramp for blockchain adoption and believes in digital collectible world with OpenSea. Oliver, welcome to the AlphaWolves, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. That was quite the intro.
Hey, well, you're quite the man. But I want to kind of just be off the bio a little bit and just want to just thank you. You've done it publicly for me on your show. I want to do it first and foremost. I'm so happy that you signed up for episode 1, because not only do I respect you as somebody that's a professional in the space, we've now spent many conferences together, walking from place to place. I said this on your birthday post by me, but you are just somebody that I just highly respect. Like not from a professional, but also from a parent as well too. I know that you try to make you try to fit your family in whenever you can. Like you fly them out, you go to these conferences with them, you go and pick them up. And I think that a lot of what I want to be known publicly is that like you put in that extra effort, where it's just like, hey, you get to have the kids at home and stuff like that, and you get to travel the world, but you really try to make it a point to bring your kids into the things that you're doing. Not only do I respect that as a father of 4, which is, gosh, geez, I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. But in terms of that, it's just somebody that I really respect, because I know it's how difficult it is to do that and to balance it. And then also to be like promoted, right? So you're going from gaming into like BD partnerships, and you just casually never told any of your friends. You're just like, hey, super humble man. Just like, hey, yeah, I'm just business development and partnerships at OpenSea, which is the largest NFT marketplace platform in the freaking world. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for just being a friend. Hopefully over the next 25-ish minutes, because I know I'm going to try to keep time here.
No, don't worry.
Is, for you, it's honestly just highly respect you, your professionalism. Also just, I think what I respect the most about you is like, there is a lot of people that like were hammering on OpenSea with Blur, with Magic Eden, with all these things. And you were just very much heads down. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to let the actions talk in a lot of ways. And that for me is just that kind of man that I respect and person that I want to be associated with. So Oliver, welcome to the show, brother.
Damn, what an intro, man. That's a long,
yeah, it was actually me waxing poetic for the next 30 minutes.
That was crazy. That was crazy. No, I really appreciate it, man. I love the Wolves. Look, I entered the Wolves about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you for not only inviting me, but made a lot of friends like yourself, Sam. I mean, I could go down the list of people that I've gotten a lot closer to. And so, yeah, I just really appreciate you having me on. I really appreciate the praise. I don't always get it, I think, publicly. And that's not a problem for me, but it goes a long way when you say it. And it means a lot, man. It means a lot.
Yeah. I know that you're also like extremely busy. So like, that's one thing, first of all, carving out the time, but also just, you always had time for me, which is always something like no one even knew me back then. But seriously, like no one even knew me. And that was really great. I will say, Slayer, we are not going to do that because Oliver seems already stressed. We're not going to do the jump quest again in Maple Story.
I'm not doing jump quest. I'm banned from jump quest based on that last feat.
Hilarious. And then Novera, I will say a lot of people think that Oliver's background is fake, and it is not. So the Good Games retro neons, and a lot of people are giving you some kudos for the background. It is real. for
Yep.
people that
These
that
are
need to
real.
know.
It's not AI generated.
Yeah.
I think who was it? I think it was Luca. I was talking to Luca in an interview last week from Pudgy Penguins, and he was like, is that real? Like, are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's real. I mean, I can walk back here if you want me
Yeah.
to. Like,
Yeah, it's actually the next 25 minutes. We're gonna just watch you play NBA Jam.
No,
Seems like the popular one. All right, buddy. Well, let's get this interview started. You have been somebody that jumped all over the place. You've interviewed billionaires like Mark Cuban. You worked alongside Ice Cube at Big 3 and now lead partnerships at OpenSea. It does not seem like a straight line, right? It seems like a zigzag. And then you also worked at Cameo for like talents and stuff. That's a wild arc. Like, how do you connect the dots from your history of like writing and journalism to where you're right now with BD and partnerships at OpenSea?
Yeah, I think I connect this in a few ways. When I was in middle school, I covered high school basketball at the Oregonian. It's the local paper.
Yep.
Well, it's like the largest paper in Oregon. But I covered high school basketball. And I did it because, well, I was reimbursed the ticket cost to get in to write the stories. And I loved it. I loved being able to go to a basketball game for free. I didn't care who was playing or what was going on. And I just fell in love with this concept of relationship building.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying it in a way of like, I'm not going to a game or an event or something to build a relationship.
Right.
I'm just genuinely interested in somebody to the degree that a lot of people probably aren't, I would say. And I ask questions and I care about people and I care about what is going on. And I can kind of find that wherever. It doesn't really matter if it's like I was selling a pencil to you or if I was, you know, a CEO of an AI company. Like, I would still have that curiosity. And I think that's what's kind of like developed over time. And so, yeah, I start basically in middle school. I'm covering high school basketball. I was very grateful to be in Oregon high school basketball when it was at its peak. I would say a lot of people would say Kevin Love, Terrence Jones, Terrence Ross. These are all NBA guys that I'm referencing for people who don't know. And I got to build relationships with their family, their friends, their other teammates, their players. And so as they grew, I ended up growing into my own journalism role. And I started to understand, like, it was very much about relationships, like the guys that you see every day on ESPN or the guys that you see on TV or are writing articles. The quotes that are coming out of those articles are based on the questions and the relationship that they have. And most of the writing stuff, I actually candidly wasn't good at. All of my editors really hated me because
this was back before AI.
Yeah, back before AI, back before all that stuff. And so I would submit these articles and they would have to edit like hundreds of words, grammatical errors, everything, because I wasn't really a great writer. I was good at getting great quotes. And as long as you had great quotes, you had a real good chance of becoming something, because not everybody could get that. Like, you know, as well as I do, Theo Vaughn could interview somebody and Joe Rogan could interview somebody and the Nelk Boys could interview somebody, and they would all come out of those interviews with something interesting, a tidbit, a clip, a moment.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I say that to say that if you're good at what you do and people respect what you do and they have a relationship or a rapport with you, the more likely you are to have success in that journalism area. And there's just not that many people that do it like in a very transparent, easygoing way. I never had an agenda. I never had a bias. And I think a lot of that was because I trusted and, you know, kept close to my heart relationships. And so throughout all this line, kind of going around in a roundabout way, it's all been about my curiosity and genuine interest in whatever the heck I'm doing. And again, I could find interest in just about anything. But it started in sports, and I've loved basketball growing up. My family loved basketball growing up, and I wasn't good enough to be a basketball player in the NBA. So this next best thing was to cover it. And so I just very much respected the players, not from a, oh my God, I want his signature, but how do you get here? Like, what happened from high school to college? Like, you were not even like a guy like Damian Lillard, for instance. I'm just genuinely curious, like, what happened? How the heck did you go from unranked in high school to one of the best players in the NBA in 3 years? That doesn't make any sense to me. Give me the, and you get the tea from those guys, and they genuinely see that you care about this stuff. You're not going in with an agenda. You're going in with the idea that you care about them. And so I think that's like always been the kind of staying power throughout anything that I've done. And I would say it's gone through that way through where I'm at with OpenSea.
Yeah. I think there's something to say though, in terms of like, I've been on the receiving end of like your natural curiosity, and it doesn't feel, there's people that are like in BDM partnerships, and there's usually kind of like two people. There's the one person that's like overly salesy that kind of get this like, hey, I'm only having a conversation with you because I'm looking for something, a kind of an avenue. And sometimes they're very good at it. That they look at an avenue and you're like, oh, now it's a good time to bring up OpenSea, or now it's a good time to bring up Wolves. There's like a natural specific one, and they're really good at crafting that specific business, but also it just feels not relational, like you said. For you, and there's other form of business that you conduct, is that like you're just like seeing if it's a good fit, in terms of curiosity and actually caring about the other person on the other side. And it's really cool to see that your background has worked so well and how you've been so successful in terms of it too. And I will say that media has also followed you through the through line of like your I would say professional career, right? So you started off in journalism, but then you also did a lot of things for the Big Three and the Cameo.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get there? And how did you also, like, I would even say it even transcends to OpenSea, and even what you're doing now with OpenSea. You have this superpower to like kind of create these media outlets at your companies. And like, first of all, before we get into how you bridge those, why do you think that's so important? Like, why do you think it's so important to have documentation, media, even though you weren't a good writer? You saw the importance of it. Why is that?
I think I see the importance of it because I digest it, because I consume it. I think my phone notification yesterday said I was on my phone for 14 hours yesterday. So that gives you a good indication of who I am. I'm constantly online, like criminally online. I think anybody in crypto and Web3 is in there, but I would just say that I'm like constantly looking at things and seeing how things like evolve or grow, seeing how trends hit. Twitch fascinated me when that started kicking off. Like just the idea of someone streaming video games and then asking people in my like inner circles, friend groups, hey, what do you think about this? And everyone's like, this is dumb. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And then it's like, for me, that's a challenge. I almost take it like a challenge. I want to.
It's your natural curiosity coming out again.
Again, it's like, I think there's more to this than you think. Let me like contrarian play this out and figure out what is the element of difference here. What is the difference here? And so, I would say that's been a lot of it, is just like curiosity, questioning things, understanding things, being at the forefront of something as it's happening is just so interesting to me. Whether it's AI right now or whether it's crypto 5 years ago or whatever, there's always something interesting and new and innovative. And I would say across these, it's always been very important to be a part of that. And I think I was a journalist, so I know the other side of the coin well enough to understand the power that you can have as an organization or as a media company to be able to distribute that media into different places and audiences that may not have touched on that previously. And so it was an interesting time. And I guess I'll pivot to the question that you asked around like how I ended up at the Big Three. I interviewed Ice Cube. His PR agency reached out to me. I did a story on how the Big Three came to be. And I'll be honest, the exact story is quite interesting. I'm sitting at home. I'm supposed to be doing an interview with Ice Cube. I have no idea. Nobody's giving me a call-in number. Nobody's giving me a Zoom. There's nothing. And it looks like Peyton's frozen here, but I'm going to keep, there we go. So there's nothing. And I'm sitting there waiting for this email to come through or whatever to do this interview. And I get a random California telephone number calling me. And I'm like, it's got to be a scam, whatever. And I pick up the phone and it says, yo, it's Cube. Like, okay, first time I've ever talked to you before. Like, sure, whatever. At first you're like, okay, this is real. And we had like a 50-minute conversation, an hour-long conversation.
Wow.
And it went from me interviewing him about how this started and how it went to like him asking me questions and I giving feedback, thoughts, interesting tidbits, etc. Because I was one of the first people to do an established interview with the Big Three, like as they started this league. And once I had that interview, I was floored by not only like the creativity, the thought process, the mechanics behind it, everything.
Right.
And so I just started like churning out ideas and thoughts and things like that. And I was sending him stuff. I was sending his team stuff. I was like, I think you guys should do this. I think you should do that. I think you should have an interview series here. And week one of the Big Three, they're like, hey, can you come to Kentucky? I'm like, like literally with 2 days notice, I tell my wife, I'm like, Ice Cube's asking me to go to Kentucky.
What? That's such a
He's
cool
like,
freaking quote.
all right,
Like,
I'm gonna go to Kentucky. And we went to Kentucky and we shot this first series of the show. And I got to sit down with, I wasn't the one interviewing. We actually had another Big 3 player interview Allen Iverson. And it was like just such a cool experience. And so we're going through this process. People see the vision, people see the thing. And so over time, they just started flying me out to different arenas to do this stuff. And it like naturally became Oliver, Big 3, Oliver, Big 3. And I just kept reporting on it, talking to all the players.
Yeah.
And the real pinnacle moment was, I think like a year and a half in, Ice Cube goes on Pardon My Take. And they say, so who's the guy breaking all the news in the Big 3? Who's the Big 3 Woj? He says, we got this guy, Oliver. And like, he knows, blah, 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 blah.
Go.
And I was like, it's a really cool full circle moment. And anyways, I got hired by them. I started doing media stuff for them. And it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience. And again, curiosity. I love the idea. I love the concept. For those of you who don't know, it's a 3-on-3 basketball league. They basically got guys who were retired or out of the NBA back into basketball again. And if you were on the ground floor watching this as it happened, like I talked to Scalabrini still to this day, or I talked to Rick Barry or Rick Mahorn or any of these guys. And the big telling point for me was like, my kids never got to see me play basketball. My family never got to see me play. I never got to showcase this to a lot of people. And so for Scalabrini, it's like, I get to play and my kids can watch me in an arena. And that is like the coolest thing ever. And so for me, I was just so attached and floored by like
very cool.
the motivation of it, and thought it was just so unique that I had to be a part of it. And it just worked out very well.
Yeah, that's such an amazing story. And also the 2-day stuff that I wish I was that cool, Oliver, that like literally I had to tell my wife, hey, Ice Cube's calling me to go to Kentucky for 2 days. It's so cool, man. And so like in terms of the jump of that, man, I just am so floored about your curiosity in a lot of capacities. I wanted to take this in a different direction to kind of like go into OpenSea, but I really just want to kind of hammer home this curiosity, this also like kind of taking a risk on yourself. This is something that I'm trying to pull also from you, is that you were naturally curious. Whenever you called like your wife saying like, hey, like, you know, Ice Cube's calling me, I have to go in Kentucky. How was that call? Like not even call, like you're probably with your wife, and like, this is kind of a I don't know, you're taking a risk on yourself in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And actually I was taking 2 risks at once. I haven't really told this story, but like I for a piece of journalism, I wasn't doing it full time. I was doing it part-time. And I was working I worked at Comcast and CenturyLink, like previous to all of this stuff. And during this time, I had a full-time job. And so I was taking time off of my full-time job to do a job that that the Big 3 wanted me to do. And my wife was like, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And it paid off because my wife was willing to give me these opportunities. She's very, very open. She's been supporting me since day one. Like we got married very early. Like that's a big portion of the story, is for her to be the supportive person that she's been throughout this process. And I got let go at the Big 3 right as COVID happened.
Wow.
I had just bought a house, and it was like it was a crazy time, right?
Right.
And my wife was actually the one who pushed me very hard when I was going through job interviews and like being stressed and being frustrated and anxious. Yeah. She was like, you're not taking a job that you don't want. Right. And that was what led me to Cameo. That was what led me to OpenSea, actually, candidly, too, is the same sort of recipe. She's always wanted what's best for me. And so when I call her and say, hey, the Big 3 wants me to do this, she knows, like, I'm a huge basketball fan. Like I love the sport, and to be able to do this with a celebrity or an icon in some fashions or form that people would look up to, she knew that I had to go. And I think what I try and do is just make up for it for trying to get back in timely fashions. Like, you know me, Peyton, when these conferences happen, I'm the first one in, or not even the first
one in.
I'm the last one in and the first one out. Most of the time I'm there for my role, and I'm out of there as quickly as I can. And it's not to be rude to anybody, but I have family. I've got to make sure
it's something that I've respected. And I've even seen that with you. Right. And I've seen you and witnessed this many times in conferences, but also like, the sacrifice that the family has to make in your stead is like, it's it's something that you could pay back for, you know?
Yep. Yeah. It's just a super important part and an aspect that I just won't change about myself. And as long as I'm doing the best job to my ability, it doesn't matter how long I'm at these conferences. You know, it's really about making sure that I'm doing the job that I'm set out to do when I'm there and making the most of my time. So yeah, like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. And I think there is like a lot of make your own luck to all of this stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like in the beginning, you started just writing because you were naturally curious about people, even when you didn't have the actual ability to write very well.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start kind of progressing, but like the natural curiosity of like a 30-minute phone call with Ice Cube turning into an hour and pretty much a job interview at that point. If somebody's staying on that length, they feel as if that there's something here, at least in their gut, that's like, I should probably stay on this call. Right.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, coming in and doing that hard work, and then, but also the pain that it comes with, like, hey, I did all this hard work and now I'm cut from the team kind of thing, like, you know, 2 years later, and then your wife kind of picking you up. Cause there's times that my wife has had to pick me up too, like from the Navy going into things, you know, getting offered job salaries that I wasn't like, hey, like, I don't feel like I'm worth that little, you know?
Yeah.
And then for you to be like your wife to say like at Cameo, it's like, there's probably other job interviews there and you just didn't feel the right fit. But what was it about Cameo that was the right fit for you at that time, right after coming off of the big three in terms of COVID and then into Cameo?
Yeah, I had like 3 or 4 other job opportunities and I'm sitting there COVID, like no one knows what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, I need to take one of these. I need to take one of these. And I was just like, I need to provide for my family. Exactly. I need to have something going on. And it was, again, my wife being like, you don't want any of these. Like, why are you even like, yes, they offered you a job. Yes, they're going to pay you more. And when I stumbled upon Cameo, I had actually chatted with the CEO of Cameo before, like 2 or 3 years prior. He wanted me to join Cameo as a sports journalist and like do my own cameos for people who wanted to be aspiring writers or something like that. I was curious about the product. And so when the job opening, I'm sifting through LinkedIn and whatever else, and it's sport partnerships and talent relationships. And I was just like, man, that seems like right up my alley. Like I would love to do something like that, especially at a place like Cameo, like blowing up during COVID. Everybody wants to book like a Troy Aikman or a, you know, Joe Montana or whoever your favorite athlete or sports person is. And so, I went through the process and it was a really long process. I think I interviewed like 5 or 6 times there. And to be honest, pretty underqualified. Like if I'm going to be totally transparent, like it's not like I was, but I really wanted it. I really wanted it. And I showed it and I did my research. I went to talent. I asked them what they like about Cameo, what they don't like about Cameo. I went to people that were on the platform. I asked them, how do you earn money? How do you make money? What does it work? How does it work? What are the splits? Like all of the questions that you could ask prospective people, I got, and then I just distilled that inside of the interview process. And I think that's, again, going back to, I'm curious, like how do other people view the company? It's a good way to vet the product itself and to understand if it's something that could make sense for you. And so did all of that and landed at Cameo and did sports partnerships and talent relationships, esports, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, you name it. And so it was a great learning experience. Again, it's you know, more salesy, right? I was bringing talent on the platform as well as retaining them by following up, by checking in with them. And guys, everyone from a Troy Aikman to a Mike Tyson to a you name it, you're checking in, following up, making sure they're doing their cameos, things like that. And so, I think it was a really good, it was a great learning opportunity. And the reason I took it because I was interested in sports, interested in esports. I built out some of their esports stuff. I brought on a lot of the esports talent because I was watching Twitch. During COVID, everybody's watching Twitch, and I was just so intrigued by the constant streaming capabilities of the people that were out there. And so I had a lot of time in the esports world during that period trying to bring on talent to Cameo because I felt like it was a great medium. A lot of these people, you can gift a sub on Twitch and get a little shout out, but to actually get a personal message saying like happy birthday or thank you or congratulations from one of your favorite esports people or gamers or Twitch streamers was I think a little bit different. And so that's how all that kind of started. And that's, I think, where my interest with gaming kind of started to uptick as well, because you're watching games constantly and playing them more frequently because of COVID.
Yeah, you are. And that time I got back into gaming, COVID was like one of those things that I've always had a huge passion for gaming, and then went back into it very hard in COVID. And just like reminded me of how much like I love it, the connection that I had, the emotional connection, and then the parasocial relationships that happened on streaming was crazy. Like to your point, getting like messages or DMs from people it's fascinating, right? I know that we're going to end here soon, and I want to actually take something because I have a whole bunch of other questions, but we can do that for part 2. For one, though, you said something about like you like always taking the contrarian side of things, or at least that's kind of more of like a journalism tick that you picked up, and I've always kind of been naturally curious throughout that. It's kind of been a theme throughout your life. What have you been naturally curious about now, or you think that somebody has the wrong perspective, or the majority has the wrong perspective? That could be like, hey, streaming is dead, or like, NFTs are like not as popular as they were going to be. Like, I wanted to kind of hear like your specific one, or is it a whole new tech stack that's kind of being developed that maybe people are seeing it at a different way? And I want to get your take on it.
It's not necessarily contrarian, but I would say that this narrative around like AI removing everybody's jobs, I think is a little short-sighted. And maybe I think everyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty optimistic. I just like to think optimistically. That's how I operate. That's
You've been affecting Koji.
Trying to. And I think with this AI stuff, I really tend to believe that it's a supercharger to great creative people, not a function in which we're just removing opportunities. And I think it actually is the great equalizer to some extent. And what I mean by that is like there are people out there that do not have the resources or funding or money to go build their own app or their own company or their own studio. And if they have a great idea, they can probably now do it with AI. And I think the speed and pace at which you can build things will rapidly increase the amount of just apps, things, tech that's out there. Just across the board. And so I think that's like one contrarian take that I have. And then the only other one that and it's not really contrarian. Again, like I said, I just think there's a lot of people in the narrative out there. It's like, oh, everyone's dead. Everyone's going to lose their job. I don't think that's necessarily the case. And then the other one that I would say I believe in very heavily right now is I think this narrative around creator capital markets or pump fund streaming. I put out a thread on this last weekend.
I saw that.
I tend to believe that most of the stuff where everybody is like questioning it or concerned about it or has problems with it, not to say it always happens, but especially in crypto and Web3, it seems to be the things that actually latch on the most and like have the longest staying power. And
because people said that without meme coins. Right, like
people said that about meme coins. They're still here. They're still going on. There's still traction across the board. I would say maybe it's not to the extent that people expected them to be, but it's still around, right? And I think the same about NFTs at one point. I think the same about a lot of these things. And I think we're very quick to just, no way, it can't be sustainable. There's no way that the streamer could do this. You just wait until somebody who has a following and has a fan base. And I put this out in the thread. People thought Twitch was ridiculous. Like the idea that I'm paying $5 a month to subscribe to my favorite YouTuber or my favorite creator and not get anything from that outside of maybe a shout out. And yet here we are 10 years later. And now it's like normalized. Everybody knows that that's a thing. There's hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars being put into this sort of thing.
And now there's studies on it too. Like
there's studies on it.
Proven.
People want to support their favorite creator. And I think that will always last for as long as the test of time. There are people out there who just want to feel something and an attachment to a creator. And I think this element of like financialization, I guess you could call it, is potentially the next iteration. And I don't think enough people are viewing it that way right now. They're flash in the pan. It's going to last a few weeks and then die. Pump Fund has a ton of money. The Arena has a bunch of, like all of these companies out there have war chests at their disposal to be able to operate and bring creators through. and make this potentially successful.
Yeah.
And I just think there's a narrative out there that isn't, I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm
Right.
simply just saying, I think we should be keeping our eyes peeled and open to more of this stuff. And I would be shocked if it's not around in 6 months, a year from now.
Yeah. And I think that's just the natural curiosity that stems from it is like, it might not work, but like, why are we shutting the door? You know, why don't we just keep it open, look at it? And there might be some element, some vertical that comes out of it that is very useful for other people to use, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that what I love about like your story is that, hey, there might not be the whole cake might not be it, but just to shout out Doug Hype here, but a part of the cake might be something, right? And I think that's something that I love that I like kind of pulled out from your story is just to naturally be curious, and it benefits so many aspects of your life if you look at it. And so, yeah, it seems like I agree with Oliver on a lot of things. I said similar things on Simplified Monday. Creators will find a way. I think there is. And so anyways, Oliver, we're at time. And I, first of all, just want to say thank you for giving your time to us. And it's just been a pleasure. And I want to have more conversations with you on this as just a regular guest. I would love to have you on, just like to kind of get your takes, to get somebody on that's regularly curious, like to see things differently. And congratulations on just all the success that you've had. You deserve it.
Oh, man.
And then, yeah, your family and everything too, man. So I'm just going to wrap up the stream here, guys. I'm like on one last leg, to be honest, with the
3
stream,
hours,
the tech.
dude.
Well, not even so much that. I'm fine, like actually like emotionally, but like I'm like, my tech is not emotionally ready for this show. And so StreamYard's like, oh, I was not, I did not have the bandwidth for this guy. And so love it. And yeah, Kobe, love to hear Ollie's story. And so now what I like to do on the show is that whenever we get him on second or third, you already know his lens, that why he like talks about things. And so you can really just get a better understanding of when Oliver has a take, that he's building it on top of this foundation. So love you to death, Oliver. Love you guys also for coming in and showing up here. It honestly was a pleasure to be with you guys, and sharing this last 3 hours with you has been just fantastic. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next week. We have a stacked panel next week. We have Star Platinum talking about his like rise to going from 0 followers to 100K impressions per tweet. We also going to talk to Cross, which is like We Made and all of those guys that kind of crossed it over to it. And then Nick Don't Die in terms of like risk to earn. So there's gonna be a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about and break down to Oliver's point, to remain curious. And that might be a foundation of the show.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I do. The last thing here, you can't fake curiosity.
Yeah,
okay?
true.
It's a really important point. It's natural. It's just there.
Yeah. Oliver's saying it's not a skill issue. You're born with it. All right. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.